Chime is changing the way people bank. Chime isn't just another banking app. They unlock smarter banking for everyday people. Forget overdraft fees, minimum balance fees, and monthly fees. Chime turns everyday spending into real rewards and progress. So many amazing benefits from Chime, like bank fee-free plus overdraft coverage you can count on. It helps you build credit history stress-free. You can earn up to 3% APY on savings. It's 7 times higher than your traditional bank, and it's rated 5 stars by USA Today for customer service. Real humans 24/7. And now with the new Chime card, it's the new way to build credit history with your own money. And get rewarded every single day. No annual fees, no interest, and no strings attached. Definitely my younger self would have appreciated something like Chime. It's so difficult to build your credit history when you have no credit history to start with. But Chime is a great way to do that. Chime is not just smarter banking, it's the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today. Head to chime.com/VIALL. That's chime.com/VIALL. It only takes a few minutes to sign up, and Viall listeners can earn up to an extra $350.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and the secured Chime Visa credit card are provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. See chime.com/feesinfo. Terms apply. Limited time only. Must open the new account and complete qualifying activities to earn rewards. Advertised annual percentage yield with Chime Plus status only. Otherwise, 1% APY applies. No minimum balance required. Chime card on-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. See chime.com for details and applicable terms.
You're crazy.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. My name's Brooke, and I'm 27.
How can I help, Brooke?
Yeah, so my situationship lied to me about being 10 years older than me, and I still went back to him. Yeah, so just looking for some advice on how to not go back to old situations.
Have you done this more than with him?
Yeah, I've done this a few times just to avoid making new connections because I do find connection sometimes hard with men. So, yeah.
Do you think that's the reason?
I think part of it, yeah. I use dating apps and whatnot, but honestly, one in every huge handful of men I actually have a conversation with. So I just find it hard to connect. And yeah, I just keep going back to people that I know I shouldn't. And yeah, it's kind of putting me in scenarios.
In your pursuit of finding your person,
hmm
do you think it should be easy?
And I know you've said this quite a bit in the past, and I say this to my friends too. I don't think it should be easy. Like finding connections should be a bit of a process. You're not going to connect with everyone, but the ones that I do connect with, I seem to hold on to for some reason, even if they've done me dirty like that guy did.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's just an ease thing or just like a lack of maybe connection.
So walk me through this current situationship. How'd you guys meet? Kind of give me the important details
Okay.
that led to you finding out he lied to you.
Okay, so just to give a bit of a backstory, so things have changed a bit since I've written in, but I'll go over a few things. So we met 3 years ago on the street. When I moved to a new city, he actually tapped me on the shoulder and said to me, you're gorgeous. Here's my number. I'd love to chat. Basically, we texted a bit before we hung out. At the time, I was 24 and he told me he was 27. And yeah, we got physical kind of quick. This was also my first like situation since being with nobody in any emotional or physical way for about a year. So we did end up hooking up kind of quickly, and I didn't really know if it was going to go anywhere, but we kept hanging out for about 4 months. Our humor didn't really line up, so I was like kind of okay with what we were doing, but things did get a bit deeper. We were going on dates and whatnot. Basically, he ended up texting me 4 months later and being like, I have a lot of growing up to do. When I catch feelings, I tend to run and all this. So at this point, I still thought he was 27. We ended, and silly me, younger me, I did end up messaging him 6 months later. Um, and well, maybe 4 months later, and for no reason other than to just say hi. And he immediately responded saying, I need to talk to you. Do you have some time to meet up? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, I wanted to tell you the truth about something. I lied to you. And I was like, okay, just tell me over text. He's like, no. So he comes and picks me up. I get in the car and he basically says that he'd been lying to me the whole time when we were together. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I was lying to you about my age. And I said, okay, are you younger? Because he honestly looked younger than 27. And he's like, no, I'm actually 10 years older than you. So he was, yeah, 10 years older. And I was confused as to obviously why he lied about that, because I do tend to go for older guys anyways.
10 years older is not that crazy. And I mean, sure,
Exactly.
certainly you might have the prerogative and it wouldn't be crazy for you to be like, I don't know, like a little too old for me. But a lot of women in your shoes would happily date a guy who's a great connection if they're, who happens to be 10 years older.
So I explained that to him and I said, why did you lie? Because I would have been open to it. And he's like, I'll be completely honest. I'm embarrassed of my age. I tell all my new friends that I meet at the beginning that I'm younger. Because as I was growing up, I always looked younger. So people would always card me when I said my age, and I was just like sick of it. And I didn't think we were going to get serious.
But that doesn't make sense why he's telling people he's younger. I mean, if he was self-conscious about his age, you would almost think he would lie about being older.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really understand it either. But he said he did this with his hockey friends and he didn't want it to be this big whole thing.
So
like,
then what
oh
happened after that? Well, you kept hanging out.
No, we went on our way, and this was 3 years ago again. So over the past 3 years, we hung out, or we got together randomly once. We went on a drive. We did nothing. We just caught up. And then about last summer, he texted me and he said, I'd love to catch up. For some reason, I did it. We ended up kind of getting into something again, but I told him, like, I don't know if I can trust you again, all this stuff. We ended up seeing each other for about 3 months, and then I realized if I was gonna do this again, which I didn't wanna tell any of my friends I was doing it, because this is my pattern, I go back to men. So I kinda kept that away from them, and I was trying to figure it out on my own. I was like, I'm only gonna do this if it seems like he's grown up a bit in terms of, like, just being ready for something. And it kinda seemed like it did. He was, like, progressing things, he was giving me reassurance, he was telling me about what he wants in the future. And then a situation happened and I realized, okay, he's never going to be the person I want. So I ended things with him. I can get into that if you want, but I sent you some texts on how that ended. But yeah.
With this current guy, some other guy, or this guy?
No, this guy.
Okay. So is it over?
It's over now. I sent him, basically what happened was he lives far away now. He moved there because he wants to settle down and da 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 da. But he lives near my college. And yeah, I basically went over there one night. I was like, I'm gonna be near you. If you want me to come by and drop you off dinner, I can. I show up. He is also a very regimented person. So he has a big routine, working out in the morning, night, swimming, out of the house every hour of the day, whatever. So I texted him, I was like, I can come, but if you are too busy, or you have too much going on tonight, just let me know. And he's like, oh, I think it should be fine. Just let me know when you're leaving. So I show up and I gave him the out to not hang out. And I show up and this man was like cold. He was just like someone I didn't like know. It was so weird. And something was obviously off. So I texted him, and communication was a big thing the second time around. Cause I'm like, I'm only going to do this if we can actually be honest with each other and
which he's never
communicate. Which he's never been, I guess, about his age. He did say he never lied to me about anything else, but of course, how am I going to know that? But yeah, I texted him. I was like, hey, like, there was something clearly off the other night. Like, what happened? And he's like, well, I was just so thrown off by my routine. And I said, you could have just told me if you were too busy. And I'm totally chill. Like,
his routine?
Dude, when I tell you, this man, morning, hour at the gym, lunch, gym, after work, basketball, swimming, going to the gym, basketball, till 10 p.m. I showed up at 10 p.m. and he was acting weird. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I doubt it's, I mean, who knows? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it seems like maybe he just wasn't interested. And I thought of that this whole time. But at the same time, he was pursuing me outwardly, constantly telling me how he felt and all this stuff.
I mean, I'm sure you've listened to this show.
Yeah.
I'm ready to kind of
Just give it to me.
Give it to
I
you.
need,
But
I know.
I want you to, before I give it to you, so to speak, I want you to
Yeah.
give it to yourself. And I want you to honestly think about, this is not calculus. This is not a complicated equation.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to say is a version of things I've said to other people
Yeah.
on this show. And I am just curious what you think.
Yeah. I mean, maybe since I've taken him back, I just feel like he probably wasn't as interested as maybe I thought he was.
I want you, okay, try to answer this question. This
Mhm.
has nothing to do with him. You called in and you're saying, your question was, why do I
Mhm.
have a hard time letting go of my situationship? So the question was, you were asking me a question about why
Yeah.
you do what you do, your behavior.
Yeah.
You did not call, your question wasn't about why does my situationship do X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
So
True.
I want you to think from that perspective and that lens and
Yeah.
analyze your behavior and why you are choosing, you are making choices
Yes.
that you later find frustrating about yourself. And that has nothing to do with him.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. Could it be kind of like a respect thing towards myself,
I'm sure
maybe?
there's a little bit. I mean, listen, the simple answer is why you do what you do when it comes to situationship is you're bored. Boredom. You have like
That's fair.
at certain times, and we all do that, right? Like
Yeah.
like maybe we haven't, we haven't found a fun connection online. We haven't met
Yeah.
someone over a period of time, and someone from our past or someone we have some kind of
Yeah.
rapport with pops back into our life, and it like takes 2 seconds to just hit them up and see what's going on. And then if we happen to hit some up who's also bored enough to respond, or
Yeah.
just whether it's in his case, it's probably not boredom. He's probably just like has a roster of women he talks to. You reached
Mhm.
out for whatever reason. The last time he ended things, he felt like things were getting there was too much pressure for him, his
Yeah.
routine or whatever. So he was
Yeah.
like, I can't, I don't know. She's asking too much of me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna push this away.
Yeah.
Some time passed. You reached out. That gives him the green light to like re-engage because he already like set his boundary and his
Yeah.
expectation, which is like, I don't know. I need to figure
Yeah.
myself out. Why do you give people a chance who lie to you? Because it's again fun. It's drama. You're caught up in a
Yeah.
story. You know, it's something to figure out. It's something you can go back and ask your girlfriends, like, why would he do this? Why do you think a guy would do this? I don't know. And you guys can powwow about it, and you can go in the group chats. It's drama. It's something to do. It's entertainment, so
Yeah.
instead of turning on Love Is Blind or whatever reality TV show or drama,
Mhm.
show that you like to watch, it's a little bit of drama that is we're the main character of,
Yeah.
we're involved in, it's
That's
something to
fair.
do. The problem with this is that again, it's not helping you get to where you want to go. So like
I know.
to try to nip this in the bud and stop doing it. How do you do it? You have to hold yourself more accountable, and you have to see it for what it is. And if
Yeah.
you can't keep making excuses like, well, connections are hard to make. Of course they're hard to
Mhm.
make. They should be hard to make.
Yeah.
If listen, the enemy of great is good,
Mhm.
type of thing. So if
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm assuming, what do you want for yourself in your dating life? Like, what are your relationship goals?
Yeah, I've been single for 5 years now. I've had a couple situations that haven't worked out. Recently, I have been dating a bit more, and it is mostly from the apps just because I haven't been going out as much anymore. It's also winter, but I recently did match with someone. We had a great vibe. We went on a few dates, but and I am looking for a relationship.
But what's your big
I
picture goal? Do you want to get married? Do you want to
Yeah, I
not
want
get
to
married?
get
You want to
married.
get
I
married?
want
Okay, you want
kids.
kids. Okay,
Yeah,
so you want to find a meaningful connection
yeah,
that you hope lasts a lifetime or a great deal of time, I guess.
yeah,
You want to meet someone that you trust enough and are compatible enough with someone that you would want to raise a family with.
Yeah.
Bring life into this world, face the obstacles and the challenges that come with the beautiful thing that is to create a family, but like the challenges that come with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to like, you are not, when you're out there dating, you're not thinking about that. You're not even considering that. You're out there just like, on the can, just swiping, playing hot or not, looking for a little bit of a dopamine hit,
Yeah.
and that's as far as you're going. You're looking for a good time. You're just kind of, you've lowered your expectations so much that you'll take anything that feels a little bit good.
That's fair. No, that is fair. I do find myself, it's like I say I want this deep connection, but it is really hard to find, like, honestly, and I know everybody says that, I know you know that, and I know it's supposed to be hard, like we said. I even just had a guy, we were vibing, and he sent me a calendar invite to more or less dump me. So there was that.
What? He did what?
So we hung out probably about 7 times, went on a few dates. We had very similar personalities, good connection. I was like, "Okay, this is a vibe." And we had a talk. He's dual citizen with the States. So he basically, I knew this, and he told me he was looking for something at the beginning. And I said, "Okay, great, let's try this, whatever." And then we were on FaceTime one night, and he tried to bring up this conversation like, "Oh, how do you feel about the fact that I might go back to the States at some point and us progressing?" So I thought this was maybe like a step in a good direction, like, oh, maybe he's seeing this as in the future. Like, how do you feel about that? I said I'd, not for you, but in general, I would be open to doing something long distance or moving in the future, but I don't know how you feel about, I don't even know what we're talking about. And then he's like, "Oh, let's continue this conversation tomorrow. I'm going to send you a calendar invite." And it was just our like our inside joke, because our first date, he sent a calendar invite, and he sent a calendar invite saying the talk. The next day he calls me at that time, and he more or less said like, I'm going on this spiritual thing starting on Sunday. Like, I need to focus on myself right now. I don't want anything serious. And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. We didn't
That's
need to do
crazy.
this
That's great.
drama, but
That's crazy.
yeah." So I think maybe I'm the one that needs to be a bit more intentional with who I decide to continue talking to. It's
Yeah.
tough because my therapist always says, like, she kind of tells me, like, I need to stop worrying so much about the future and like just live in the moment. So it's a really hard battle between letting things go how they're going and worrying about a relationship with someone in the future. You know what I mean?
Well, your therapist is right.
Yeah.
We certainly all, like, anxiety comes from worrying about the future.
Yeah.
Feeling depressed is thoughts and feelings about the past and not having those be resolved, type of thing. But yeah, so like, listen, I constantly work on trying to be present and focus on the present, and we all have
Yeah.
anxiety, but your therapist is right. But like, you're not processing her feedback, I think, correctly in a sense. And I get, in a way, like, so much of you have to take charge of your dating life and your life.
Yeah.
Right now, you are letting the men you date set the pace of your love
That's
life.
true.
You are not asking yourself the right questions. You're not listening to your body and yourself.
Yeah.
The only thing you are responding to is drama and entertainment. And it's keeping you preoccupied because you have the instincts. You're obviously a smart person. And if you would just take a moment and listen to your therapist, for example, and be present, right? Think about, forget about the future. How does this moment make me feel? Hey, I'm in a car with this guy. He's like, by the way, I've been lying to you the whole time. Oh my God. That statement, first of all, that statement from anyone is kind of heavy, right? Now, there are situations where good people make bad mistakes and sometimes get caught up in a sticky situation and say lie or whatever. And certainly there are exceptions to rules. But for a guy you barely knew, didn't have much of a rapport with, and then in that moment had no real connection or reason to stay, that should be enough to be like, yeah, listen, this didn't require a get together. Thanks for letting me know.
I know.
That's weird. that you're lying
Yeah.
to people about your age. Again, his explanation didn't make sense. His explanation was talking about how he's always looked young for an age. That he didn't like how he was always getting carded, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada. And so now he's lying about being 10 years younger. Like, why doesn't he not like his age? Why wouldn't a 37-year-old who looks 27, is someone who's looked young for his age most of my life? And as I got older, you know, part of it was like, I could be honest because I always got the, holy shit, really? You're not, you know, like, you know, and so I got some positive reinforcement. Like, it doesn't add up that this guy who looks so young, who's 37, is so insecure about his age. Like, like if that just tells me he just lies all the time. So he doesn't really know how to process like what people would actually think, because I think most people would be like you. Like, he might run into someone who's like, I don't know, yeah, maybe you're a little old for me. But most people, men and women, if he was just honest about his age, would be like, oh, wow. And as a 37-year-old, like, there, you know, a lot of people would probably give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, like, a lot of women your age are probably very frustrated with a lot of the men your age. And a lot of women your age are trying to age up and hoping that they find a guy in his mid-30s who maybe has a little bit more, who feels a little bit more established at work, who's maybe making a little bit more money, who isn't still playing video games constantly, you know? And he should own that. Like, the fact that he wants to sound like he still like is, you know, now probably he is, quite frankly, from what you tell me, living a life like a 27-year-old.
That's
you know,
true.
Very selfish, very routine, and it's all about him. You know, it's you know, and that tracks, but none of that should be a green flag for you. But you're not asking yourself how these men are making you feel. You're just responding to the feeling they give you, and it's a trigger, and you feel something. And like, listen, I get it. I know what it's like to be single for a long time. And there are times where I was like, I don't feel anything. I feel nothing at all.
Yeah, I think that is. Maybe I am just chasing like something.
Yeah, but you really have to like check yourself. And again, like part of that is just, you know, part of that is not thinking about the future. Your therapist is right. You're spending all this time worrying about finding someone, thinking about being alone, telling yourself that it's not going to happen, and put your mental state in this kind of like desperation mindset, so that when anything shows up at your door, you're just excited that something is happening. But you have set the expectation in your mind that like you have no worth, that like you shouldn't have these expectations. You have men stopping you on the street saying, wow, you're beautiful. Like, would you like to go out? Like, I mean, that should feel good. Like, why, you know, like, you know, you might not be everyone's type, but like clearly you have, like, you can meet guys. Like, you've met men your whole life, you know, like you are just selling yourself way too short.
I know. I need to have more confidence in that sense, I think, and just like making better decisions just for how it makes me feel. Like, because I know when I'm doing these things, like sometimes I don't even tell my friends because I'm kind of embarrassed of what I'm doing. And I almost like know.
How old are you? You're 27?
I'm 27.
I say this with love, but it's time to grow up.
I know.
You know, as a 27-year-old person who like, you seem like overall you have your shit together.
Yeah.
You should, you know, if you're 19 and you're doing things that you know don't want to tell your friends because you're kind of embarrassed, I'll give you a pass. You're 27.
That's so fair. I know.
You know?
What am I doing?
And it's like you literally know. You're literally having a conversation with yourself in real time, being like, I'm not going to tell you the truth. It's like, okay. Like, again, we've all done some crazy shit in our life.
Yeah.
You know, for love. And I think we all get a pass when we're, you know, 18, 19, and 20, 21, as long as we're not doing, you know, as long as we're not putting anyone in harm's way.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to critique. You need to be your toughest critic. You know, you need, you know, because you're just, think of the energy, you know. And again, this is like the thing I stress the most. It's like whatever insecurities you might have. I don't even know what they are, right? But we all have them. And many of those insecurities, some of those insecurities is just like, yeah, this is how God made me. It's just who I am, you know. Can't fix how my brain thinks or works. And you're going to have to like learn that. You're going to have to learn to love that part about you. But a lot of our insecurities are just
Can be
bad
upsetting.
habits that we haven't really had the guts to fix. And
Yeah.
instead of wasting your energy on these men or worrying about the future that like hasn't showed up yet, you could
Mhm.
be like you could be whatever self-improvement you want to make.
Yeah.
You could be
Yeah.
and then you would feel good about yourself. You would be thinking about the commitment and the work you put in. And when you do
Yeah.
that, then your time does get more precious. When you start using your energy in ways to better yourself, instead of wasting your energy in ways that hurt yourself, you become way more precious with your time. Right now, you don't value your time, and you're like, well, I could use my time to make this bad decision, or I could, use my time to do nothing.
Yeah.
Your option is make bad decisions with men or lie on the couch.
No, I honestly do. Maybe it doesn't seem like it, but I honestly do a lot of work on myself, and
I'm
maybe
not
that's
saying
not
I'm
reflective.
not saying you don't, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is the way you've talked, and I'm sure you do,
Mhm.
but you could clearly be doing a lot more. But
Yeah.
the way you are so quick to waste your own time
I
at
know.
27 years old,
I know.
and is like you, I
I know.
just like knowing that you need to set better standards for yourself.
I do. And it's like with dating, it's not I rarely go on dates. Like I rarely am seeing someone like seeing someone. Like I'm very picky, which apparently not because
No,
I
you're
keep
not.
going back to old people. But with like people on dating apps, like I rarely go on dates. And I think I
Yeah, but
do kind of need to
that's not pickiness. That is, again, there's discomfort in going on dates. It's
yeah.
uncomfortable. That is you not being willing to push your comfort zone. If you
Yeah.
told me, Nick, I mean, I go on all these dates, I might say, slow down. You're like pushing a little too hard, but
Yeah.
like at least you're out there trying. We had a caller not too long ago who hadn't dated at all. She lost a
Mhm.
bunch of weight and she went on like
Mhm.
47 dates in a year. And I was like, okay, that's
Mhm.
like, but like at least that was like her catching
Yeah.
up with a lack of experience. And like maybe she needed to make some adjustments, but like she was out there like,
Yeah.
just like, really, how uncomfortable it is to like have never dated and then go
Yeah,
on
for sure.
47 dates. Like,
Yeah.
you imagine the amount of strange men that she had to interact with and meet and like kind of
Yeah.
process and get over? That took real work for her,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
that's, but she will benefit from that because that was her pushing her comfort zone. It
Yeah.
sounds like you have really shrunken your comfort zone, and then you'll use that as an excuse, and you'll say, "Oh," and you'll call that pickiness.
Fair. Fair
You
enough.
should
No,
be
I that's a
picky.
good way to look at it.
You
No, I
know,
know.
you should be picky, but you should push your comfort zone,
Yeah.
and try to find new ways to learn things. And you should be open to be surprised. And you can still be picky and still
Yeah.
push your comfort zone.
Yeah. No, you're right. I hear you. That's good advice, honestly. I think I needed to hear that. It's like I know these things, but just hearing it from someone else, I think, just kinda puts things into perspective. Like, I am getting older and
You're still
who
young. I
had
mean, like,
this
you're only
I know. I just
27, but you are definitely too old to be making 19-year-old mistakes.
no, you're so that's so valid. You're right.
I mean, and
Yeah.
again, like the all the signs are there. When you are embarrassed to tell your friends, don't do that.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that kinda was
have one friend to hold you accountable.
yeah.
Have one friend I listen. I'm going to tell you all my decision, and like I just check me, And listen,
Yeah.
this shit isn't easy. I know I'm being a
Yeah.
little like direct with you, but like
No, I appreciate it.
it is hard,
Yeah.
but you can do it.
I
And,
know.
you have to listen, listen to your therapist. You're not,
Yeah.
like you're paying them money, but they're right. Like be present. Listen to your body.
Yeah, I'm not
You are
listening
not
to how things
listening
make me feel.
that you do. Yes, correct. And that's the best, the thing that you should take away from this call more than anything.
Yeah,
You're
you're right.
a smart person making dumb choices.
No, that is so valid, and, yeah, I just think, is there even a point of like, I don't know what I'm thinking by thinking that any connection is, like, worth it, like, if I'm feeling bad about it. It's like, it's better to just have no connection and sit with that and deal with that than
Well, think
pursue
about what you just
something that
said.
doesn't
That's
make sense
really
to
that's
myself.
really kind of insightful, right? I think we do
Yeah.
take for granted the fact that a connection
Yeah.
can be bad. We can have bad connections. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's something we think about. We think we hear the word connection and we think good. Now, good
Yeah.
connections are great. You know, we need those. They're arguably the most important thing in life
Yeah.
is like the most meaningful connections are the only thing that we really remember when
Mhm.
we look back on our life.
That's true.
And listen, we will always encounter some bad connections. It will be
Yeah.
those bad connections that you will remember those. But what you remember about those bad connections is how you overcame them.
Yeah.
Right. But eventually when you're just collecting bad connections and not overcoming them, they don't really become positive memories. They're just weights. But
And
like,
then maybe I'm giving myself a negative perception on maybe even men or connection as a whole, when in reality, it's my decisions that are putting me in these scenarios. You know what I mean? So it's like, I
yeah,
need to
part
just
of it is
change.
like, I think maybe you could take a pause on dating, slow
Yeah.
down, recalibrate kind of just
Yeah.
your social life, right?
Mhm.
Maybe just ask yourself, what friendships have I what friendships do I have that are important to me? Are there any of those friendships that maybe haven't invested in as much as I could? Maybe that's
Yeah.
family members, maybe that's friends. Just focus on that for a moment. Check in
Yeah.
with your body about how does that make you feel? I'm not saying you
Mhm.
have to go cold turkey or delete all the apps, but I think you just need to
Yeah.
recalibrate how you approach dating and really kind of, not to sound all guru-ish, but like kind
No.
of really connect with your body about how you show up for connections and how these
Yeah.
connections in your life make you feel. Maybe you
Yeah.
have some friendships that also are giving you bad feelings. Maybe you need to evaluate that, but I think you need to evaluate the connections you have in your life and think
Mhm.
about which ones make you feel good. Ask yourself, why do they make me feel good?
Yeah.
And should I reinvest in, should I put more in some of these connections? And then when you really have a better understanding of how these connections in your life play a role in how you feel, then you can go
Yeah.
out and try to replicate that when it comes to dating. And while
Yeah.
understanding that a lot of dating comes with frustration and disappointment, but like enjoy the journey and
You're
have
right.
friends hold you accountable and be mindful of the obvious red flags and triggers, like you're feeling embarrassed, feeling
Yeah.
bad. Don't get caught up in the drama of trying to
Yeah.
figure out why some of these crazy men that you date do what they do. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Doesn't matter.
well, he said this, and if they say one thing and do another, that's not something to figure out. That's just a
Yeah.
reason to leave, especially
Yeah.
for someone you have no rapport with, or no
Yeah.
connection with, or no real connection, like other than the
Yeah.
fact that, like, listen, this guy stopped you in the street and said, "You're gorgeous." That's a really great meet cute, and that's fun. And
Yeah.
it's, that doesn't mean anything. I mean,
That's all it was. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely some reflecting I have to do within myself. Kind of stop putting the blame on other people when it's me who's putting myself in these situations. You're right. You're very right, Nick.
sorry.
Yeah. No, no, it's great.
The world is full of people who will gladly waste our time if we let them.
That's true. That's true. I'm just giving people permission to,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you are doing what so many of us and so many people do today is, yeah, letting people waste our time and then convincing ourselves that they're the problem.
yeah. No, I know.
Like, they certainly have their problems for
Yeah,
sure, but it's
yeah,
not your problem. And you're making other people's problems yours. And when you think about it in that context, I mean, doesn't it should piss you off how much time you're wasting?
I know.
You've spent mental energy
Yeah,
trying to figure out why this guy makes bad decisions. That's crazy. I mean, right?
I know.
We've all
Reinvest
done
that
this.
energy.
We all do this. We've all done that. But like, it is
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy that we do this.
you're right. I have some thinking to do. I'm gonna go back to the drawing board and just
This
sit
is
with myself and think
your
of the things
life.
that
You are in total control of it. You
I
have
know.
you have a lot going for you.
Yeah,
And you should think of this This should excite you, right?
Yeah.
Because the good news is that however you feel now about what you don't feel like you're getting that you want, the good news is there's a lot you can do. You know? I mean, you called me up and I was like, man, I don't know. It sounds like you're just doing everything great. Like,
no, this is why I called. I needed you to just set me straight, to be honest. And like, I do feel like I do just in general in life take on other people's like responsibilities and problems without
I would guess that has to do with your either unwillingness or fear or anxiety about facing your own.
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely. Yeah.
You know, it's a lot easier. Like, you know, I always say, like, you know, that's why we love reality TV, because it is a mirror. It is a mirror for our own shit. I think the people we criticize the most on reality TV, if we're really honest with ourselves, are the people that remind us most of ourselves, or at least the people who we've dated, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to go on, watch TV, turn off our brains, and judge a bunch of crazy people who went on TV, but we're just judging ourselves.
Yeah. We're doing that in replacement of actually taking the time to judge myself. I need to be judged by myself. You know what I mean? Like I need to
be kind to yourself, but you know, it's just more holding yourself accountable and increasing the expectations that you have for yourself and finding, you know, more expectations. I mean, more and more we are using boundaries as an excuse to not expand our comfort zones.
Yeah.
You know,
that makes sense.
It's like, oh, this is my boundary. I can't do that. And when we say the word boundary, it feels very justified. We're all just like, and we're just kind of justifying our stubbornness, our poor decisions. And it's all under the framework of, well, it's my boundary.
Yeah.
Boundaries are good, but like at first we need to have, what are our expectations of ourselves? Where do I want to go? Yeah. And what actual boundaries are going to help me get there? The boundaries can be used to like limit ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
They just be guardrails to keep us stuck. You know?
That's true.
You think about a boundary. What is a boundary? It's a blockade. You know, it's well, if we're stuck, sometimes we could set up a bunch of boundaries that don't allow us to get out of the position that we're in.
Yeah. I need to hold myself accountable and just work on myself, stop worrying about other things and put responsibility on myself to make good decisions, because people aren't going to make those decisions for me. I need to set myself up for success.
Just do it with a healthy and positive point of view about yourself. You've made some mistakes. You haven't been perfect. No one is. But the reason why it should frustrate you is because you know you deserve more, and you know that you haven't been loving and treating yourself with the respect that you deserve. And you really want someone to love you in a certain way. You got to love yourself first that way. I know it sounds like very guru and corny, but it's true. You know, like you just do.
No, I get it. Okay.
All right.
Got some work to do. I'll get to that right now.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you're a homeowner, whether you've owned your place forever or you're a first-time buyer, you already know this: stuff is going to break. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Many homeowners dealt with some kind of breakdown just in the last year. And without a home warranty, those fixes can cost thousands. That's why we're big fans of American Home Shield, and AHS Home Warranty helps protect your wallet from covered home systems and appliance breakdowns, no matter how old the system or appliance. That HVAC system that came with your home and has trouble heating the house? American Home Shield can help. They can help fix parts of major home systems like HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, plus kitchen and laundry appliances. And if a covered item can't be repaired, they'll replace it. Owning a home is stressful enough. American Home Shield helps make it a little easier. Listeners can get 20% off select plans today. Just visit ahs.com/viallfiles to sign up. See ahs.com/contracts for coverage details, including service fees, limitations, and exclusions. Put away the heavy layers. It's time for breathable, durable clothes that move with you and keep up with anything you put on your spring calendar. Mack Weldon has updated closet staples like their stretch twill chinos that go with everything, and button-ups that keep you looking sharp from morning coffee to dinner dates. Everything that Mack Weldon does is high-quality staples for your closet. I'm talking specifically those men out there. It reinvents men's basics through smart design, premium fabrics, and a simple, convenient online shopping experience. Especially for the guys out there, you just want your go-tos. You want some great t-shirts, some sweatshirts, some flannels, some great reliable pants that last and fit you well. That describes Mack Weldon to a T. They have their Ace pullover hooded sweatshirt, which is an absolute favorite of mine, as well as their Ace crewneck sweatshirt. Sometimes you like a hoodie. Sometimes you don't. They have both great options, and they are incredibly comfortable and wonderfully stylish. You know, I know a lot of you guys out there, you want to, even when you have to dress up, you still want to be comfortable. Well, Mack Weldon lets you do that with ease. Mack Weldon balances classic pieces with updated details to keep you looking sharp. Not flashy, just classic, always, and style. And made from the world's most comfortable performance materials. All my friends back at home are full on Mack Weldon everywhere they go, whether it's golf, whether it's to their kids' school activities, whether it's to work, they are looking great and feeling comfortable in their Mack Weldon. It's not flashy, just classic, always in style, and made from the world's most comfortable performance materials. Easy to style and versatile looks that you don't have to think about. Mack Weldon is effortless by design. Get moving with Mack Weldon, comfortable anywhere. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code VIALL. That is Mack Weldon, MackWeldon.com, code VIALL.
Well, I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The RealReal, the best place to shop authenticated luxury handbags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I am obsessed with scrolling on The RealReal. I find it to be like my happy time at night when I like have a moment to when Nick's running the nighttime errands. You know, he's getting the water, he's turning off the lights, he's locking the doors. I'm scrolling on The RealReal and I'm finding pieces that you can't find anywhere else, that are vintage, that are up to 90% off retail. They have brands you love like Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Tiffany & Co., Cartier, and so much more. And unlike other resale sites, everything The RealReal sells is authenticated in person by luxury and fashion experts. The RealReal offers attainable luxury to upgrade your personal style. You can also sell your closet with The RealReal, and they do everything for you from photography and copywriting to shipping, pricing, and customer service, so you can sit back and get paid. Plus, with over 40 million fashion lovers on The RealReal, your items will sell fast. The RealReal just makes it so easy. The RealReal is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale with over 10,000 new arrivals daily. No one does resale like The RealReal. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/files. That's therealreal.com/files to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/files.
How's it going?
Hey, Nick. My name is Michelle. I am 29, and me and my best friend fell in love, and he ghosted me, and I am just trying to figure out how to process that and move on.
Okay, so tell me about this best friend who is now since ghosted. You still haven't heard from him?
Still haven't heard from him, and I wrote in about 2 months ago, so still have not. Well, probably about a week after the ghosting started, and it's been about 2 months total. So, yeah.
Do you know where he is? Is he alive?
I do. We have mutual friends. We shared locations. I was the one who took that away after a few weeks of not hearing, because it was just obviously I was checking it. I didn't need to do it. It wasn't good for my brain. So, but I knew for the few weeks after that.
All right. So tell me the story. Tell me the story.
Yeah. So I'll try to, obviously I know all these stories are long. I'll try to condense it as much as I can. But we've known each other for several years. We had mutual friends from college, actually. Like my very best friend and somebody else I knew from a long time. They went to separate colleges, came back. We became one big friend group. And so we were a friend group for several years, just very, very surface level friends. I had been in a relationship at one point during it. He'd been in a relationship at one point during it. But our group did spend a good bit of time together. And then about 2 years ago was when both of us were single at the same time. Our little friend group went to a trip that was just allowed us all to spend a lot of time together. And I feel like that was when his and I individual friendship really began to,
blossom.
Flourish, right, to blossom. And trust me, I've been a fan for a long time, listened to this podcast for years. I know friendships really don't exist once one thing became, even just, I think, male, female, single friendships, there's always a
dynamic, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but from there, that was when our individual friendship, I feel like, started, continued, and what
did this friendship like? How did you guys show up for each other as friends?
Yeah, good question. It was a lot more of just our communication became a lot stronger, but it was still I was dating, asking for advice. He was maybe dating, not necessarily like asking for advice, but we were aware of
Sharing
that.
stories.
Like it wasn't sharing stories. We had things in common, activities, hobbies in common that we would do. I should note though, I do live in a different state at this point as the rest of this friend group. So this was a long distance friendship with all of them, but I had been, good friends with them for a long time before.
But then you and him started like FaceTiming and talking and
yeah, more so just texting and like appropriate friend things. I wouldn't say just like FaceTiming out of the gate after this trip, like just appropriate level of keeping in touch and whatnot. But he had a plan to potentially move to the city that I am in, totally unrelated to me. But then, so about a year ago now, him and our two other friends came to visit for like, let's make a trip of it, come see the city. And that was when I think things began to maybe push into more of a, is this going to be potentially more than friends type of thing? We had a night out, we had fun, a kiss was exchanged. And then from there, I think we had a lull of like, we don't know what's going on.
You
but
guys
like
kissed.
We did kiss that night.
And
so this is about a year after the individual friendship.
Were you drinking? Was it?
There was some drinking involved. Okay. Yes.
Was it like? Was it sloppy? Was it a moment? Like you just kissed?
I feel like it was. I think it was a moment because I do think that in the back of both of our heads, the thought had always been there.
Like let's not guess.
Yeah.
His feelings, but I would love to know how you felt.
I remember going into that night thinking, if I want something to happen, something's going to happen. And so it wasn't like a full surprise. And it was like.
So at this stage, sorry for interrupting, you were probably feeling, you felt like you had a little power here.
I would say so.
Okay.
Which is going to play into probably the whole thing. And I'm transparently have some nerves of this because I know it's anonymous and whatnot, but and you'll see how just like, I know all my friends are literally like, you need to go on and you need to hear this from Nick. You need to hear this all from somebody else. Like he's ghosted you. It's so wrong. There's nothing to fix. But in my head, I'm still afraid of like, is this going to make things worse? You know what I mean? So I'm definitely, I feel like.
You're afraid of him finding out about this?
Yeah. And I just in general, I think.
And by making it worse.
Exactly. I mean, what is there to make worse? Exactly. Exactly. I know. And that's the problem is I've cared too much about his feelings on the back end of all of this because I see where I made, I think, a lot of mistakes. And so I feel like I am a self-accountable person to a fault sometimes where like, it's like, what could I have done better? Anyway, back to that, the whole kind of the story side of things. We then had a little bit of a lull there where it was like, well, we didn't really talk about it, but I think our talking turned more toward flirting. We had another group trip coming up that I think we were just both really looking forward to of like, what's this energy going to be like? I don't know how he's coming in. I didn't know if he thought this is just a fun little thing, whatnot. But then we ended up having that trip. It was great. He immediately came to help me move apartments in my city literally the next week. And we just
this is after the makeout?
Well,
was it a kiss or is it a makeout or like?
It was makeout.
Okay.
It was makeout.
Give timeline. Was there heavy petting?
It was. We were all staying in my apartment, all four of us. So and he had.
It wasn't an orgy.
No. Just saying, we were all staying in my apartment. Like my best friend and her husband were in the guest room. He'd been on the couch the whole time. He did not sleep in the couch that night. However, did not go any further than that.
Okay, so no, he slept in your bed.
He slept in my bed, but
and you made out for a bit.
Only kissing.
Okay,
yes,
so that's definitely more than a kiss.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so timeline though, that was last spring, so about a year ago.
Okay.
Then summer is when we go on this group trip and like I see him again, and then from there it was just like
wait, I'm sorry, you didn't see him for a whole year?
I don't live in that city. Not a year. This is like spring to summer.
Okay, a few months.
March to June.
But after the night of passion, what was the communication like with him?
So they were all flying home the next day, but it was like that actual day in person was totally fine. And then from there, we continued our like texting friendship. I think it got a little bit more talking probably every other day.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I just like how did you feel the next morning? Like when you woke up and he's next to you lying in bed, were your clothes on?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't know. You talked to this guy, your best friend. We'll get to that. I want to challenge best friend in a moment. this obviously was a moment. I mean, if I've had moments like this, it's hard to sleep. You're just like kind of excited. You know, did you get much sleep?
Yeah. So I think at first I was like, it's hard to put myself back in that, but I think at first I was just like, oh my gosh, well, like, yeah, that happened. And then I feel like it's less about how I felt that exact day and then more the next few months leading up, knowing we had this trip coming up together where I felt.
So you guys essentially just kind of just almost pretended it didn't happen in a way.
I wouldn't say like pretended it, kind of. I mean, yeah, kind of. Like our communication didn't get weird. Like in fact, it picked up. It maybe got a little bit more flirtier, but I don't think we like acknowledged it until getting a lot closer to that trip. And that's when we kind of, I think we're trying to feel out each other of like, are we on the same page of like, did we like that happened? Are we like wanting something like that to happen again on this trip? And like, so then I went into the trip honestly pretty giddy. And really like there was a point where he almost wasn't going to go on the trip for other reasons. And I realized how much I honestly wouldn't have wanted to go if he wasn't going.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I still went into it not knowing like, as much as again, we were friends, we were pretty surface level friends. So I didn't have a good view of, is he really even looking for a relationship? Does he just look at this as a fun hookup thing, whatever? But it was immediately clear on the trip then that he was very interested in me in a more of a like in a potential relationship
how
way. Just, I mean, well, we pretty much, I'm a very straightforward person. So like once the first time that we kind of like kissed on that trip happened, I pretty much was like, all right, what is this? You know, what is this to you?
So you guys
What
go
is
on the
this?
trip and you guys, you make out pretty quickly?
I should, this is okay. It was a music festival.
Okay.
So we're spending 3 or 4 days. It's all camping together, drinks and, but yeah, so it was just pretty clear after that. And again, we like the benefit of being comfortable with somebody is that it's just easier to have some of those conversations right off the get. So I just knew quickly as us talking about it that he'd been interested in me for a while, kind of was wondering where I was at as well. And I was moving apartments the very next week in the city that I live in. He offered to come and help, and he did. And I remember being very nervous for that because that's when I still was like, yes, I'm like giddy and I like him, but there was just so much unsureness of, I think, assumptions I'd made around him, not my typical type. And that just kind of spirals into like pretty much the entire story of what happened is we ended up seeing each other for a few months. I never let it become officially boyfriend and girlfriend because I continued to just have so many hesitancies.
So you go to the festival, you have a great weekend, there's some making out, you guys have a conversation, and you mutually agree to stop being just friends and start exploring a romantic relationship, and you dated, whatever that means in 2026.
Yeah.
And I guess at that point, then you started almost like realizing that you don't know him as well as you maybe felt like you did.
I think that me and one of my girlfriends had made a lot of, and I've said this to him, like made a lot of assumptions based on watching how he was too, and a past relationship that he was in for a long time during our entire friend group. However, again, a lot of assumptions on that, that I quickly brought up, and I feel like I was proved very wrong in a positive way of just, that we were wrong. Like, again, I didn't, we're surface level friends. And the more I got to know him on my own individual friendship, like I really began to see this is one of the best guys I feel like I've ever known and really cares, and things just made sense of what I had maybe assumed and why I had assumed before. And I know I tend to do that as well. So I was just, I mean, from a person, from a who he was standpoint, was beginning to see a lot of the green flags, learning more about him too, and like things, obviously what makes him who he is. And
what were some of those green
whatnot.
flags that you liked or observed?
He has always put like his friends, I don't want to say first because he's not a people pleaser, which I also think is a green flag and appreciate. I've dealt with those, and I, to be honest, in my like last one, that was kind of the case, was a people pleaser and what people think, and that's where I lose respect for them, and I have a hard time with that. But this person, like, he knew who he was. He's always going to stand his ground. I don't feel like in any ways he was ever trying to be anyone for anything or anything for anyone. He was who he was, but at the same time, like just a core thing of who he was he cared about his people and wanted to always just do things for them and take care of them. So I think those were big things that really were different from a past relationship I had been in. I think that's the biggest one that sticks out to me.
Okay. Probably because you didn't have it before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Just very much the dichotomy because, and I mean, another thing that might just come into play in this is just always questioning things, especially, how do I word it? I don't know, just there was other things like, and I've said all of this to him too, like there were my other, maybe, I guess maybe like red flags or things I wasn't sure about, or maybe like ambition or I don't know, but I knew I respected him, and that was different than something I had prior, and I feel like that really came from the fact that he was who he was.
Sure. Okay.
Anyway.
So then what happened?
Yeah, so we pick up of basically we just get into a few months of kind of dating, seeing, but I just continue to have the questions the
Still
whole
long
time.
distance?
Still long distance, but we did a pretty good job. I mean, I'd say we were seeing each other I don't think we didn't go more than 3 weeks.
Okay.
Because he lives in where I'm from, my parents, and
Yep.
it was pretty easy. And we did a really great
job.
So
when you said you still had questions, what do you mean about what?
I think this goes back to just the fact of like the spark and this like when you know you so know type of thing and like this you can't attraction and blah 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 and I think there was just like I couldn't help but kept feeling like something was maybe missing.
Hi,
But
Rev. I'm sorry, my daughter. So.
Hi River. Hi. Is that this Jeff or Steve?
That's Jeff. That's Steve.
Jeff. Oh, there's Steve.
Hey.
Uh,
Love you. Bye-bye. I apologize.
No worries at all. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, just I think this kind of always questioning, which I am worried. And one thing I figured because this problem itself is inherently like one thing I was like, maybe I can get out of this call is just understanding more about like how the heck am I never going to always question everything? Because this is, what my friends is going to say is my problem is I'm going to be an overthinker, overanalyze, like question every little thing. And I don't know how to trust my gut because in the past, classic story, but a lot of when you get those, when you do feel excited, it's off of the wrong things. And I know that I've worked through a lot of that. So I was really trying to also like give this time. And to be honest, there were 2 different callers you had at 2 different episodes that really at the end for me of this little situation confirmed for me, I think that I'm making a mistake, like not being with him, which I'm fast forwarding here because obviously I'm noting that like I ended things a couple times within this. Which I guess, yeah, sorry.
Do me a favor.
It's just so much has happened.
Do me a favor. Just take a breath. I want you to slow down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Take a breath. Take a big breath.
Take a breath.
Rewind.
I need to do this more chronologically.
You're dating. You're having questions. Yes. You're not sure about sparks, things like that, passion. Meanwhile, you, outside of your overthinking, things are progressing in a pretty good way.
Yeah.
Other than you are overthinking.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
and then you said you tried to end it a couple times? Yeah.
So the first weekend that he came to visit, I felt like a few days in, I was just like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. And then he was here for a few days. It was all me moving.
You said that to him?
I did. I'm always very, very transparent of where I'm at, to a fault.
What was his reaction?
I think this was the 2 days before he was leaving, and I was like, I'm just not like, how are you feeling? Like, I'm not sure. And this was again the first time he came after we were really like, let's see here, let's try this. And he was like, I mean, I'm really like enjoying it, and feeling good, but like, it was kind of a conversation of I was just bringing awareness of how I was feeling. I wasn't necessarily doing anything with it yet. And we still had our next night was like the first real date night we've ever had. And again,
the day before the first date, you're like, I don't know if I like you.
Yeah, which we've already spent 4 days together here, moving my apartment, whatever. But obviously he's here on a flight. So but we go and it was so good. Like, I feel like the conversation was so good. I learned so much about him. He was really, really like showing me how he felt about me, had some like acts of service that like I wasn't expecting, drew a bubble bath at home, all this stuff, like very sweet. And I just then I left that like, okay, actually, you know what? I do want to explore this. So that's kind of how it continued for the next couple months. I liked him a lot, but there was just something that I was just like, why am I not so ready to be boyfriend and girlfriend and like
What does boyfriend
really?
and girlfriend mean to you?
I mean, it doesn't mean anything. I think it's stupid.
Well, no, it
It's
did
the
though. I
same
mean,
thing.
I'm just,
Well,
you had a
it's
feeling.
yeah, yeah,
Things are going well. You're questioning your feelings. I mean, credit to him in this moment because, like, not to, we've lowered our, I think, expectations of men these days, but, I feel like a lot of guys would probably respond very poorly
yeah,
to putting in a lot of effort pursuing someone and then having that person be like, I don't know, there's just something about you I'm not into.
yeah,
And his response was to not overreact and to your point, have confidence in himself
hmm
to still, pursue you and go for what
yeah.
he wanted.
Like there'll be a lot of those of just me learning his like emotional level maturity is so great. Like I can't believe he's still able to communicate through these things, et cetera, et cetera. Which is why the ultimate ending has just completely surprised me. But
So then
I
you try to break up with him again?
so there a couple of months go by. I actually honestly was ready for us to be the boyfriend and girlfriend, but it was around the time of my birthday, and it sounds so stupid, but I was like, I don't want our anniversary to be on my birthday. So we'll just wait a little bit longer for the boyfriend girlfriend. And then ultimately, like that trip for some reason, it's just and I'll say this too, every time he came here, I struggled. Every time I was there, I really didn't. And I think that has a lot to do with I'm in a city that is a lot of just like overachiever, like it's a bubble. It is a lot easy to compare. I have a friend group that they're awesome, but it's all entrepreneurs who like do super well. And like I think that I just get into this kind of comparison mode of like, is there more for me? And I don't even just mean in him as a partner. He is one of the best people I feel like I've ever met. But it's more of the life that I feel like it represented of me potentially having, which gets into like my probably the things I need to work through of like, I don't know, just what I'm afraid of the future looking like and whatnot. So long story short, before we get into all that, like, yes, I did end up ending it at one point, and then I was going back to my hometown anyway. Actually, for his birthday, I had already bought plane tickets and something. And I said, "Do you want me to come? I won't come if you don't want to." And he's like, "No, come. Like it's still all our friends. We're still friends." Because he was very much like, no matter what, even from the very beginning, even when we had this first breakup conversation, we will always be best friends. From his point of view, we will always be best friends.
You guys are calling each other best friends?
Yes, and trust me, I even tried to have the conversation like we're not. Some things will change. Like and he was always from his point of view. No matter what, you are my best friend, and we will always stay best friends. Like even when I'm having this first ending conversation, which he did say down the road, like broke his heart. He is like in the moment saying, "It's okay. Like you're still my best friend. It's all good." Um, so went back for that birthday thing. Ended up me being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm dumb. You're amazing. We should continue and try again." So we do. And then same thing happens. Just he comes to visit. I don't know why. So I end it. And so that's pretty much like how the romantic side had ended. But same thing, stayed best friends. And then and when I say stay best friends, like which I know this is not but, like, same level of communication, same texting, same still FaceTiming long distance and watching our TV shows, like, the only thing that changed is not saying "babe," no flirting, like, but the emotional,
At this point, you
companionship
guys have had
was
like hooked up and had sex and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So at what point did you listen to these episodes?
So, I listened to these episodes, after the, like, second ending, so we're, like, only friends, and they were 2 different episodes, but kind of similar. One was a girl who had moved for her boyfriend and then didn't like the town or something, moved back. And she was just talking very much about how like he's kind of like he's just a nice guy. Like he's just a nice guy. I don't know. And just what you were saying and and listening to her, I was like, this is how I sound, and she's annoying me because this is like I'm looking at the wrong things. Like, I'm looking at the wrong things. And it was just like hearing it from a different point of view, hearing myself talk was just like making me realize, yeah, that. And then there was another one, it was a little bit more recent. And you were just kind of talking about like, you're always looking for the kind of the drama or something to be wrong. And it was like somebody where, yeah, she had a good relationship. There was really nothing she could say wrong with it. And it was, again, it's like same thing. And I just feel like that's always going to be my problem. And it just made me recognize like these things about him that make me feel safe. Like it is my best friend. Like, why am I looking at these other things? Like, I feel like I have people around me here, some people around me here that, the guys, they make a lot of money. They're super successful. They're whatever. And I remember one night, and this was the night it actually flipped for me, where I was like, I want to be with this guy. So I was out with all these friends and I was just looking at these guys and I was like, you guys are so unhappy. You make so much money, you do all this, but you guys are so unhappy and I do not want this life. And yeah, so that's
So at what point did he
catch up
ghost
there.
you?
So again, we're still like friends during all this time. And then to not add too much confusion to the timeline. So over this was like Thanksgiving, I was home for break. Again, we had been just friends like the last time things had ended. We're in October at this point, but we spent some time together to play our sports activities, and we just kind of like fell into each other again. And that was at the point too where I decided like I do want this. And we said, all right, we'll kind of talk about this a little bit more. We'll see each other again over Christmas. Now, the whole caveat to this was the reason he was potentially moving here, or he was potentially moving here again, way before all this started outside of me. And that was always the plan until he got a job promotion that then told him he could not move. And he was fighting on that because he still, again, wanted to move here regardless of me. And we found out after this Thanksgiving little tryst, whatever, and before I go home for Christmas, that they said he was not allowed to move here. And I feel like that's where everything flipped. All of a sudden, like we went a week where it was just kind of spotty talking, and then he just went dark one night on me, didn't talk to me for like 4 days, then did reach out, apologized. I thought we were good. I thought the door was even open the way he was saying of like, let's just see. I mean, even on that call, he was like, no matter what, we're always going to be best friends. And then saw him over break a little bit. We had some hard conversations, and he was just emphasized, like, I just can't like go into this right now, but I want us to stay friends and just see if it kind of comes back. And he was like, let's watch our show when you get home, because we used to like FaceTime and watch show. And he was like, you fly home tomorrow? Okay, great. Let's watch tomorrow. I get home, text him, nothing. And then like 5 days later, it's New Year's Eve. I get a text from him on New Year's Eve being like, sorry, work's been so busy, been slammed. Like, let's watch our show this weekend, which I know he only texted me because he was with our friends. And like my best friend probably brought up to him, like, why the hell are you not communicating with her? And then I was like, okay, no worries. Like, yeah, let's do it. And then since then, nothing. And I've obviously reached out a couple times, but.
So at any point were you like, yo, are you alive or?
My last message that we sent for like the watching the show or whatever, I was like, oh, no problem. Like, hope you had a fun New Year's Eve. And he's like, I did. How was yours? And then I said, do you want to actually watch tonight? And he was like, I can't. And I said, no worries. And that was it. And then the next day I needed help with something that he's always helped me with before via FaceTime. And I just asked quickly, like a little easy favor, like, hey, I'll help me with this. I need it for tomorrow. Didn't answer. Tried to FaceTime later that night, didn't answer. And then a couple days later, I did send a text just kind of saying like, hey, I'm trying to meet you where you're at. You said you wanted to be friends. It's something that was worded really well, but just basically was like, if you need space, if we need space, that's okay. I just hope like with everything we can respectfully communicate that with each other, and nothing. And so that's the last thing I had sent. Again, I know he was alive because like I could see him on Find My Friends. I've seen some stuff on social media, but that has been it. And my two best friends have not seen him either. We're all in a big group message that he's not super active in, but like hasn't said one thing since.
So he's kind of disappeared on the group?
He's disappeared as far as I know. And it's hard because we're all a little bit older. They're all like out there in the other
how old
city.
is he?
We're all 29.
Okay.
And they're all like kind of moved out into the suburbs and stuff too. So it's not like everyone was getting together as much anyway, but like Yeah, it's been really nothing that I've heard of. And the last big update that I'll say, just to give all the information, is that I ended up sending a handwritten letter last week, more for myself,
Mhm.
but just because a lot of this has been me being angry at myself for everything that kind of happened in between, and like why did I have to just question everything and not know and whatnot. And so a lot of like apologizing for that, but also, saying it's wrong how he's going about this, but forgiving him for it too. And just really saying like the only point of this letter is like I would just really love clarity, but I'm not expecting us to be anything. I'm not expecting, no pressure. Obviously I haven't gotten an answer. He doesn't check his mail frequently, I know that. So, but that's where we're at.
Is it possible he met somebody?
For sure. I mean, I don't think he had met somebody but at the ghosting time, but at this point I mean, for sure.
Why not?
Just because given where, like, I mean, look, a lot of this has made me question things, but like who I know him as a person, I don't think something would have happened with us over Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then even when we did talk over like Christmas break, I even kind of said, like, I'm afraid of you, meeting somebody else before you're open. Because he was just very much like, I am so not okay to be open to anything. Like, I need to work on myself. And he like kind of laughed, which I know means nothing ultimately.
You
You
guys
could
were
still
like
meet.
making out and stuff over Christmas and stuff? It was
So sorry, there's so many details, so it's hard. I did the first night of break, I stayed over there kind of on accident because my parents are a little bit far away from downtown and all of us were down after a football game. Alcohol was involved. I had gotten picked up at the airport, so I had no car. And it was pretty much like, "Fine, you can stay here." And he was the one that very much came in that night and started to kiss me. And I literally stopped it and go, "Does this change like the fact that you said you're not ready for anything or don't want this?" And he was like, "No." So we got into a whole conversation that night about, and I mean, just things I've left out, and like very much 100% he was hurt by the whole thing. And like that was finally expressed kind of in that of, he was very afraid that I'll just do the same thing. There was a comment made of like, I know how this goes. You're just going to change your mind again in 3 weeks. But like, I don't feel like the fact that I would just even been there spending the night if he was seeing somebody before all this. Very possible at this point. He is for sure.
well, most likely it's not like a one day he wasn't with anyone, the next day he was in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
It's 2026. I keep saying
Yeah.
that, but like, the lines of exclusivity are so blurred these days, right? So that, yeah, it's possible that he like had met someone, maybe on an app or out, maybe didn't even think
Yeah.
much of it. Cause that's like the one thing, while you're talking, my back of my mind, I'm like, you probably met someone, like you're, what is it? Octan's razor or some bullshit? The simplest explanation is usually the right
Yeah.
one. And so like, what's changed? Nothing's changed. He's been consistent with his communication. What would be the one thing that would make it really hard for him to continue communicating with you in the way that you guys always did, which is there's another person in the equation that he is pursuing and liking and feeling some of the same things maybe he felt with you, doesn't know how to tell you that. And then, you know how things happen. It just kind of happens fast. And he wakes up and he's like, well, now I'm kind of responsible for this other person's feelings as well as being responsible for yours. And not necessarily responsible, but like in the sense that like, you establish emotional connection with someone, friend, or, someone you're dating, you realize this person is counting on you for emotional support, things like that. And, it would make sense that it's hard to do. Doesn't make it okay. But I wonder if that's possible. And since none of your friends he's kind of disappeared from the friend group as well, would maybe make sense that his time is maybe involved in investing in someone else.
I mean, it is definitely possible, I suppose, especially because the way, and this is where now I reflect on things of the beginning where I'm like, maybe a little of my assumptions were kind of right. Like he was seeing somebody the first time we hooked up. Now, the way he phrased it to me was very different than I am learning that it was presented to others and her. But I feel
Wait, what was that? Say that again. What?
So like when they came to visit, a year ago at this point, the first time like anything ever happened, and like he had been seeing somebody, he probably wouldn't phrase it that way, but
He had been
he told
talking
me,
to someone.
well, he had told me it was pretty much just hooking up, like
Yeah.
nothing at all. And come to find out, like even my best friend was like, I thought they were dating, like boyfriend and girlfriend, the way that he talked to her, the way that like, so that's not how he presented to me, because I think he liked me and would have picked me and like wanted that opportunity. But now, anyway, so I'll just say it's for sure possible. I think where the only reason I'm like it's hard is just because we were, even as just friends, I knew where he was pretty much every night with like his kind of hobby with find my friends, or we were literally FaceTiming watching our TV show. So I'm just like, I don't know when you would have, but it's, who knows? It's possible. I live in a different state.
And so you wrote this letter a week ago. He ghosted you what, in early January?
Last
essentially?
I heard was January 1st.
Okay.
Yep.
And so what do you want? Like, what can I help you with?
Yeah. Well, originally when I wrote in, it was kind of like can this still be, because I figured he was going to pop back in, since this was like now the third, fourth time he went dark. And every time we had been so much like, we will always communicate. This will never, I couldn't believe that this happened, especially given up until this point, I'd always said to all my friends, this is the best communicator I've ever been with. This is the most emotionally mature person I've ever been with. Now I recognize, I think like there's a difference between emotionally mature and being able to have hard conversations and just like compartmentalizing them and then them blowing up later. But I think now it's just like, how do I move on? And I know it's just time. And I know it's really not my ego. I think it's more so my just trust. And I mean, I guess her ego. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Just
probably
like
have
the
a little.
sadness.
You have a little regret.
I have regret. It's not like my ego in terms of like, how could you, like, what's wrong with me? It's just like, I'm I'm just hurt. Like, I don't understand how, yeah, it went from what it was and all those things were said and to this, and how to just kind of like move on, because it's obviously gotten a lot easier, but still like yesterday was just a random day where I'm just like, what the hell? And then also I think it makes me worry that I'm going to have a hard time dating, because was this somebody that was really it? And I just overanalyzed and looked at the wrong things. And like, at what point will I just know? And yeah, I've had a very hard time dating. I mean, yeah, as everyone has.
I think everything your experience is very relatable. I mean, I think in terms of helping you move forward, a couple of things you need to just try to do or start doing or stop doing or whatever. He's not your best friend. He was never your best friend. You guys had a close relationship.
Yeah.
So like you have to change your narratives that you're replaying in your head. So right now it's just feeling very heavy because in your mind you're like, I lost my best. You're making it worse by being, first of all,
Yeah.
like you're questioning yourself. Why do I do this? Why do I second guess myself? I lost out on this guy I really like. I also lost my best friend. It's just like, no, it's just the one thing. You've lost this very meaningful relationship, a relationship that over the course of this past year or whatever the timeline is, like, was your go-to guy, and played the role of your boyfriend, as you've heard me talk about on the show, is like these kind of heterosexual friendships where there's these like, do I have feelings? Do I not have feelings? Or even when I was very single, I had a lot of women friends. Some of them were just straight up platonic relationships, especially from my point of view. But there's just always someone in that equation who is wondering if there's more or not.
Yeah.
And then, but when you are single and you are a heterosexual person with friends of the opposite sex, even if it's just strictly platonic, they're playing the boyfriend and girlfriend roles. And then like for me, I probably had like a handful of girlfriends that like minus the physical aspect, were playing that the emotional support that a partner offers. I was getting it from my women friends, going out to dinner, let's grab a coffee, late night chats in the middle of the night about whatever. And even if you're talking about your dating experiences, it's just like, just having that person listen and that comfort, that safety, that security blanket, and you lost that with this person. And that's sad. That makes you really sad. And that's normal. But what you have to stop doing is romanticizing. You're no doubt you're romanticizing it in ways that you weren't romanticizing it when you were questioning yourself, right? When you're questioning the relationship. And I think this is something to just be mindful of. Like it's normal and it's human, and you don't have to keep asking why, about that. And then another thing you really have to try to stop doing is replaying the various conversations you've had with him, specifically what he said to you. He said this, but he said that, and that doesn't really make sense. And why would he say that? And, it's like we say things in the moment. We try things out. They've acknowledged that you have said things to him and then backtracked a little bit. There were certainly no doubt times where he was probably confused, be like, in fact, she like this, she said this last
100%.
week, and this week she's like not doing it, And, when people say things to us, it's like written in stone, it's like, well, if you take me seriously, you can't say that to me and not mean it. You can't say that to me and not be 100% sure. You don't get to say this to me and take it back.
Right.
And we have these kind of different expectations of how people treat us and versus, how we treat people. Because when we're on the side of our confusion and uncertainty, we have those built-in excuses. We give ourselves more grace about our uncertainty, and it's like, well, yeah, I said that, but it's like, but I wasn't thinking about this, and this new insecurity popped in my head and things like that. So you're, to help yourself get over it, it's just the rumination of questioning yourself, because then you get into the weeds of, and it becomes very confusing. And then you're like reliving that relationship back in your mind. And like, again, this is so fresh and so new for you. So you're kind of in this stage of, and you miss him and you don't have him in your life. So a lot of the times that you would probably call him, the shows you would watch together, you are enjoying, in a way, you are preserving that relationship by missing him. By romanticizing, by ruminating, and things like that. Normal. It's, again, still fresh, but you just have to try to stop doing that.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it, as far as like going, if there's a good chance he met someone. It's just, it's not because he's so busy at work.
No, for sure. And that's what he kept saying at work. Like he'd see my friend, which it's just ironic because every time he'd see her, he's the one that brings it up to her, brings up the situation, whatever. And brought it up to her at New Year's and was like, yeah, we had a really great conversation before it. And she's like, well, she said you hasn't heard from her in 3 days. And that's when I hear from him, but I don't know. He brings it up. Every time he's like, well, yeah, it's just because I've been so slammed at work. And it was this new job and whatever. And I feel like in my gut, I don't think he had met somebody up until the point of him ghosting. Could be wrong, but
who knows? Maybe he didn't mean anyone, but it's definitely a possibility.
But it's definitely a possibility at this point for sure that could be someone.
Well, the fact that you are, I don't know how to say this, but you are, you're like, well, is it possible he met at this you in a way are trying to protect him,
I guess,
and what you think of him, because it's just like, well, if he met someone at this point, then it would be really fucked up about what he said to me or what we did.
Yeah.
And then I would have to think differently of him or be more mad or whatever.
100%.
And then 100%. Also I would feel stupid and I would feel played a little bit or lied to. And so, you're protecting both yourself and your ego and how you think of him by, well, I don't know if, it's like, I'm like, I think he met someone, and you're like, maybe, but like, it really matters to me if he did meet someone, when he met them and when he started talking to them.
No, you're not wrong, because I do think this was somebody who from the beginning I said to all my friends, and a reason why I feel like not the reason I questioned it, but I was like, this just feels so safe. I had never had anything before where I wasn't kind of anxiously triggered, anxious, and my anxious attachment was 0. I felt so good. And so I think to your point, if that all those things about him that I thought were true begin to become not true in that scenario, it kind of feels like it nullifies.
Let me ask you this, your letter, did it really put everything on the table?
I think it did. I'm actually very proud of it. There's literally nothing else I could have put. I mean, it was me apologizing. It was me being mad at him. It was me forgiving him. It was me, because I think and this is where some of my friends were like, Nick will be good for you. He will tell you to stop. Like, I have still thought like, oh, is there something in like the last text I sent that could potentially have made it seem like I was saying I didn't want to hear from him, or like trying to find a million excuses why or then I'm like, well, maybe he was ghosting me, which is wrong, but he was planning to reach out in like a month and then goes and sees that I unshared my location and thinks it's because I'm mad. And it's like, no, I just need it for my mental health or whatever. So I was like making up all these justifications and so the letter to me was like, I am mad, but I'm not mad, like just telling him like I miss him. I wanted clarity, like everything.
How much of that letter was a reflection of your back and forth?
I'd say like at least it's a 2-page full letter notebook. I'd say probably 25% of it was,
Okay.
a good bit of apologizing for that and why I felt that way, but why not
And
justifying
did
it,
you
like why I was
still
wrong.
shoot your shot in this letter?
No, I said at the end, I don't expect us to be like I said, you could be seeing somebody. I don't even know if you'd want to be friends. I think that, the actions show me the case with that. There's no pressure from this letter. That was a big thing. I'm going to highlight it because I think that he shut down previously because of the pressure. I just said, all I am looking for is like, and the only thing you could help me with is clarity or closure. And if I don't hear, like, I hear that too. So.
Okay. I think you should feel really good about the letter.
I do, honestly.
Okay. Stop wondering if he read it. He doesn't check his mail very often. I mean, maybe not, and to your point, you wrote it for you, right? He will get the letter, how often do people like receive like regular mail? That's not junk mail that has like a handwritten.
I did the math with when I sent it and like he should probably
you're
have
tracking
it.
The mail.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that you didn't.
He's got it.
I'm shocked that you didn't require
put an air tag in it or
like a signature of receipt.
Very good.
Like the mailman hands over the letter and he takes a photo of the guy and he's like, hold on, I got to send it to the.
He's alive.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just you got to feel like you said a couple times that you still need all you want now from him is the clarity. Like you have the clarity, right?
Yeah.
The answer, the specifics is so you don't have the why. The why doesn't really matter. He is not where you are right now. And let me ask you this, like if he showed up at your door holding the letter with a tear running down his eye and a flower in his hand and was just like, I love you, and what can you confidently say that all your doubts about the two of you or your feelings about him and the certainty of that this is a relationship you really want to really try. And I don't, and I didn't mean, oh, you're certain he's the one, because you would never be certain in that moment, but just someone that you were like, I am no longer going to get in my head and I'm not going to question things. And if I wake up one day and don't feel like I want to jump his bones, I'm not going to like overanalyze that and question the relationship. I'm just going to like, still enjoy what I enjoy about him rather than question my feelings. Are you confident that that's where you would be?
That's a great question. I think that my hesitancy to say yes is less of a him problem and more of like me and therefore then what leads to kind of my fear going forward with dating of just my always over analyzing. But I think if I had to choose this one of the sides, it would be yes, but I would still be saying, but I don't know that this is my person. I know you're saying like, I don't know. It's okay if you don't know he's the one, but that's where I feel like it's like, at what point will I ever stop overanalyzing and decide that somebody is? So I don't know if
whenever,
that was a very good answer
when you're ready, I guess, that's a you thing.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like before I met Natalie, I've told versions of the story over a million times, but yeah, I mean, I was single for a really, really long time. I going on a reality TV show to find love in your 30s, having been someone in my 20s who was, I guess, a hopeless romantic and very much like, wanted to emulate my parents. And then I kind of had to recover from that, and in my late 20s, grow up a little bit, mature, and kind of process like why I did things and didn't do things and what and recognize that some of these relationships that I really pursued and fought for were not because of the love, or it was really just maybe a combination of my emotional immaturity and just the toxicity of the relationship. And I confused that with passion and romance and things like that. Before I met Natalie, I had a lot of questions about like, when will I know? I don't, I so many times remember when I was dating, and I dated, a lot of great women, sometimes for a couple of weeks. So I had some that were a few months long, whatever they were. So call them situationships, we were just like casually dating. And I remember like even saying to friends, like, sometimes I just feel like I just have to pick somebody, where I just like, because I don't feel this like driving force. But when those relationships or, those things ended, I was a little sad, I was a little like, there would be moments where I'd want to call them and see what they're doing, but I never really missed them. I was never really like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
until I met Natalie, and we did the dating thing. And then, when she was kind of like, fuck this, I'm really done with you, kind of, honestly, like, playing with my heart, I guess, in a way. I was, maybe unintentionally, but nevertheless, that's how she felt. And I, there was periods of, we would stop talking and I was talking to other women. Then I was always thinking about Natalie, when I was with these other women. And I was trying to pretend I wasn't thinking about Natalie, and I was like telling myself like, and that for me, that was the, and at that point, it wasn't like, I know she's my person, I know I didn't, there were all of my insecurities and all my questions still existed, because as someone who's also an overthinker and a ruminator, I'm really good at finding the problems, like I think that's one of my strengths in business.
Yeah.
Is that like, I'm good at coming up with ideas. I'm even better at critiquing other people's ideas, not to be a dick, but to just to help workshop them, And so when it comes to my own life, I'm really good at poking holes and in my personal life. And but with Natalie, it was more like, I remember having this very specific epiphany, if you will, which is like, I had been single for all these years. I had met some great people, and while I have no regrets about the ones I didn't pursue, I remember thinking, I haven't really gone for it. I haven't really tried with anyone. I haven't really tried to see where anything goes. And that was over the course of, I don't know, years, 5-7 years. And it's like, I could have dated some of these people, ended the relationship, and still be where I'm in today. But like, I never tried, I'm just kind of casually dating and waiting for a miracle to happen.
Yeah.
And I think, it's like, I remember, because, for me, it was, my dating life was, not late teens, early 20s. And again, it's easy, you are less cynical, you have less experience, you're overthinking, you're not damaged goods, and by damaged goods, all of us who have been hurt by people, heartbroken, led on, or, just, people have wronged us, you become cynical. But I never really tried, I was just like, and so here I was dating Natalie, having these feelings. I missed her. I thought about her a lot, still very, and then I could think of 100 reasons why this could go wrong. And I thought to myself, I gotta at least try, and this is someone I really need to, I would regret not trying, and if I never try, if I never put myself out there and with a willingness to be wrong, because as we get older, and at this point I'm 38, 37, I don't know, somewhere around there. And I'm like, I'm 37 years old. And, you know, like at that, when you get older, I don't know about you, but like for, you know, when you're in your early 20s and you have you get heartbroken, right? And when you're early mid 20s, you still feel old, you know, you're just like, and then when a relationship ends, you have that common feeling of like, oh my God, it's just like, that's like 3 years of my life gone, you know, 3 years of my life I can't get back. I have to start over. That feeling of starting over when a relationship ends is such a heavy, scary feeling. You know, it's like, oh my God, I got to do this all over again. Oh my God. You know, it's just like, and so I think a lot of my reluctance to like jump into a relationship was like, I don't want to like invest in someone and give them a year and a half or 2 years of my life and then realize that they're not the one. So all these people I dated, you know, and never really went for it. I just kind of like, I just played the relationship out in my head. It was kind of like, well, you know, like, listen, I know where this is going to go, but it's not going to go anywhere. So, like, let's just not, you know. And again, with Nally, it was just like, well, I can't do it that way. You know, I have to just try. So this is all to say, you know, I think hopefully this is a lesson you've learned that whatever you are searching for, we all want to spark. We all want to feel a little bit of excitement. But I think as we get older, we have to reframe what that excitement looks like.
Yeah.
Right. And you mentioned the word safety. And I think that's something you've listened to the show, you hear me really preach that Natalie has always made me feel safe, but more importantly, she's always made me feel loved, you know? In every relationship, there's moments of like, you know, you hurt each other or, you know, things come up. But like, even in those moments, I was like, this person really makes me feel like she wants to put as much energy and effort in this relationship as I know I do. And for me, that has really been the key for mine and Natalie's relationship is that, you know, whatever ups and downs we've had and as all couples do, there in my past relationships, there were moments where I was like, I think she fucking hates my guts. You know, like, how do you feel about me? Like, you know, and with Natalie, you know, it's like, and then there was like, I don't know if she's really putting in the effort or I feel like I'm doing more at times. But that wasn't the case, you know, with her. And that was a different feeling. And that was something that really I cherished and I leaned into. So, you know, I think going forward, let this be a lesson that, you know, you have the spark, you know, these things of so much about what you appreciated about him was like how he showed up for you and that you could rely on him and how he handled himself in different situations compared to the other men. And, you know, that's something you'll just have to remember and not maybe, you know, like not question, not pull back. You know, I think maybe in the future when you're feeling that, maybe I know you're like, I wanted to be a direct person and I'm a direct person. I have found at times that like, that's not always the best approach. You know, sometimes I could just keep my inner monologue to myself. Because like sometimes, you know, you say, you know, there were a handful of times where I don't know what the context was where I'd say something to Nally and to me, it was like a throwaway thought. And then 3 months later, she's like, you know, one time you fucking said that to me. And I'm like, what? I said, and I could tell it, like it sat with her, you know, at the time she didn't like react to it. She didn't like, it didn't become a fight, but she remembered it and she felt a certain way about it. And her way of processing it was not to be reactive in the moment. But I realized that it hurt her feelings or at least affected her in a way, you know? And so sometimes we just have to be careful about that and how people react initially doesn't necessarily mean it didn't bother them or it wasn't a thing. So, and a lot of those moments come from me just like probably saying too much in the spirit of honesty and transparency, you know, and direct communication. So, you know, that's something to remember. And I mean, there's no magic thing I think I can say to make you feel better. And it sounds like you kind of know a lot of the answers already. But you just have to try you have to accept where things are today. And you have to, as corny as it sounds, be grateful for the experience. It's so annoying. But you do.
Well, and I think the things that just resonated with me the most in there is really the fact that I do just probably need to give things a try and see it out, because I do think that, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur as well. I think I very much have those, like, I want to just make sure it all works. I can see all the issues with it. I think forward, whatnot. And so I'll determine, yeah, is this already all the reasons it won't work? I know I'm only 29. In my head, I feel old. I feel like I'm one of the last ones here, not in a relationship. So I'm like, I don't want to waste that time. Right. But at the end of the day, everything is going to go nowhere until you give it something until you give it time. So
one of the best lessons I've continued to learn and be reminded of as I get older, when I think about my past relationships, well, one, I don't think about them a lot, but when I do think about them, I only really think about the bad moments, because the bad moments have now all turned into amazing memories. And I think really when it comes to relationships that don't work out, that we survive and process and work through, those are the, like, I don't remember, I don't sit there and spend a lot of time thinking about that one time with my one girlfriend where I did some romantic thing or we had a good, I mean, those happen, but I don't reminisce about them. Like, I don't miss them. But I really, if a memory pops into my head, I will think about, man, I was really down bad that day. I said some crazy shit. You know, I remember being really hurt, and I always think back and laugh. You know, I laugh at myself, I chuckle, but I also know that, like, I don't feel that way anymore. I survived it. I worked through it. You know, I have a different perspective, and those are just like really useful memories, because every day something shows up in our life. Every day there's a problem. There's things that make us anxious. You know, there's things that show up that scare us. Be like, oh my God, what is this? How's this going to happen? But, like, you know, we've survived so much in our life, you know? And so I think, if anything, now's not the time to really ruminate about this guy. Now's the time to, like, focus on how to get past it, get through it. But if you never talk to this guy again, at some point, you will only remember how you got over it. Yeah. And you will only remember some of the crazier times that you had, or times that you were most confused. And I don't know how you will think about it, but it will be a happy memory. It won't be there's just no way 5 years from now you're going to be like, fuck, I really fucked that up. I mean, he was the one that got away. It just won't.
I hope.
100. It won't be. It just won't be. I really, especially because, again, even if he met someone right now, you guys have this fairly long history.
Yeah.
You shared a lot of great moments. Yes, you were back and forth and confused, but you put your heart out there. You really went for it. You wrote this letter, you put it all on the table. And if there is something there, maybe he still needs to process this. And I'm not saying this to give you hope, but, like, if there is something there that is worth you two really giving this another shot, it'll happen.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen, there's definitely a reason why.
For sure. And that's a big reason why I needed to write it, because it was like, if I don't get an answer from this, like, that is clarity. That is, so yeah, I mean, and I feel good about that. And I think that part of this conversation did make me realize, like, damn, I really do wish I truly did see that through. Like, that is my, I think, problem, is that I am poking holes and not, like, because so what? Maybe, we would have dated 6 months and maybe it wouldn't have worked out.
But you have to just learn the lesson.
Use that as a lesson, right?
But, like, again, when I finally came around, Natalie was there, and she was ready to pursue something. And, and because I felt like I was really being sincere, and, while not perfect, and certainly she had reasons to be justifiably frustrated with me and confused and certainly uncertain, she was still there and willing to, like, give it a shot, because at that point, I really put the cards on the table. I shot my shot. I really went for it. I changed my behavior and my line of thinking, and we tried, and if there was something there, if this relationship was ready to give it a shot, he would show up. He would respond, because we've all, like, you didn't do anything that's so unforgivable. Sometimes we're all confused. Clearly he's doing the same thing now.
Yeah.
So it's like this idea that he can't get over, a little bit of back and forth, because what you guys always had, even in your back and forthness, in your uncertainty, is you always had that chemistry. When you guys would reconnect, there was always that "this is why I like you" feeling.
Yeah.
And that's maybe something you can remember when you're in your head, is like, how do I feel when I see this person? And don't overanalyze what the feeling is. But you felt different, that's for sure. You felt something,
Yeah.
and then you just have to stop overanalyzing that and just be like, it's definitely different than some of the other guys. And maybe that should be good enough.
Yeah. This is good.
You'll probably hear from him at some point.
You think so?
I mean, it's short of him having met his person. And he's really just in this relationship, and it's, he's in the honeymoon phase, and they're fantasizing about life together and things like that. And it works out, and you find out he's been dating someone in a few months, like if it's his person, maybe not, cause that and should be his priority to protect that relationship. And, you might cross paths, and it'll be this kind of awkward, like, but if he hasn't met someone, or he met someone and it just doesn't work out, you will definitely hear from him. When? I don't know. What that'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not holding on to it. I'm not holding on to even a response from this letter. I think what's interesting is like there will be some sort of cross paths at some point, just given our friends. And there will be, I'm shocked this hasn't happened yet, but like there will be a time when he sees my best friend, and we will get some sort of information, because she's very unhappy.
But like that, you have to let go of that.
I know. Yeah.
You don't need any more information.
You're right.
You're not information hunting. You're stop playing detective.
You're right.
Call off the dog, so to speak. You stop commiserating with this mutual friend. You have to let that go.
Yeah.
And next time you talk to that friend and she brings it up, you just politely be like, you know what? We need to stop.
Yeah, she doesn't bring it up in her defense. She's my best
well,
friend.
Then you need to
it's
stop.
just who I've talked to. Yeah. But I mean, I've deleted the locations. I've muted on Instagram.
Stop dating him in your head.
Yeah, that part's next.
Yeah. And then just stop second guessing yourself. Like your person's out there. You really have to stay positive. It's so annoying. But you really have to just trust that this is part of the journey, and just know that at some point you will look back on all of this and laugh, and you will be grateful that you experienced it. It's so weird to like say, oh, would you do life over again? If you woke up and you were 21, of course we would make a bunch of different choices. But like, I don't know, like, I'm glad I wouldn't do life over, because like it's so much of everything. It's all a part of the journey. It really is. And it's all part of learning and experiencing things. And again, I'm so grateful of all of my exes and all my bad experiences of my pain and heartbreak, because that is surviving those is really makes us who we are. It's just important to survive those, and it's important to allow ourselves to move forward and not ruminate and not question things. And that's the part where we don't learn lessons, when we constantly refuse to like accept the clarity that we have by convincing ourselves we don't have the clarity we need.
Okay.
So you have everything you need to move forward.
Yeah.
So start moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway from talking to you too is just giving things a try. I mean, I think that a lot of my overthinking comes from feeling like I'm running out of time, right? And just wanting the answer now. And so just and
try.
That's what and that's what I am learning. I regret from this one is not trying. So just going forward,
it's like
and if something feels good, just give it
they're just going to be your ex,
Yeah.
The way we treat boyfriend and girlfriend like a wedding ceremony these days is crazy to me.
It's not, I feel like it's not that I don't care about. It's the like, okay, well now I'm 32 and now I'm 35 and now, that's, but
yeah. But that's why we have to just be present as much as possible and really go for it and be in the moment, because worrying about how old we're going to be someday if things don't go is just a giant waste of our time.
Yep. It's true.
All right.
All
Well,
right. Well, thank you,
hopefully
Nick.
this was
Appreciate
helpful.
it. It was very helpful.
All right. Well, keep
And
us
thanks-
posted. I would love to know,
I will definitely.
how you're doing in 3 or 4 months. I would be curious whether
I
he
will.
reaches out back or not. And if he does, certainly reach out.
I'll definitely send an update. Well, thank you. Congrats to you, Natalie. I have been listening since, I don't even remember who you first had as your first very other producers. Was Shug or something?
Shug, yeah. Well, Shug was
yeah,
one of them. Shug's still in our
back
life.
in those days. Okay, yes. So
Shug,
long-time listeners. So I appreciate
Shug's like
your
a
advice.
part-time nanny for us for River.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Great meeting you.
Thank you.
All right.
As well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
One of my new obsession, it's my Coop Sleep Goods pillow. I've had it for a while now, but it still feels like new because I'm getting even better sleep. It's incredibly comfortable. It's perfect for every kind of sleeper because it's adjustable. It comes with added fill, and if you like a firmer pillow like I do, great. If you like a softer pillow like my wife, Natalie, does, even better. You can take it out, you can put it in. It also stays incredibly cool all night long. You know what they used to say, cooler than the other side of the pillow? Well, now both sides of your pillow will stay cool all night, especially for all you hot sleepers out there, what many of us are. You're going to absolutely be obsessed with the Coop Sleep Good pillow. I know I am. I have one here. I have one at the lake. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Again, we've put all of our guest bedrooms fitted with Coop Sleep Good pillows because they are that amazing.
Not only us, we also use it for River, the toddler pillow she is using, and she is getting the best sleep ever because of it. They give you a free pillow consultation with their sleep expert to optimize your sleep, a 100-night free trial, and 86% of sleepers reported better sleep after switching their pillows to Coop. Let Coop help you show up feeling rejuvenated and ready to go. Get 20% off your first order and try Coop risk-free with a 100-night sleep better guarantee at coopsleepgoods.com/VIALL. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/VIALL. I feel like I have been getting a lot of comments on my hair recently. I don't know if it's because we've obviously been out doing some press. I've been getting my hair done a lot. I recently posted a hair transformation. And the one thing I say to people when they compliment it is Nutrafol. Nutrafol has been a game changer for me. I'm not taking it currently because I am pregnant, but I will be taking the postpartum one because I took it with River. It saved me postpartum. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, and it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women tailored to different life stages like postpartum or menopause and lifestyle factors such as plant-based diets, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. You order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track. Plus, with a Nutrafol subscription, you can save up to 20% and get added perks like a free Headspace membership to support your hair health journey. I can't tell you how healthy my hair feels, the lack of hair shedding I've had over the past few years since I've been taking Nutrafol. I truly think it is a product that works. Let your hair become one less thing taking up space in your head and see thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code VIALL. That's Nutrafol.com, spelled NUTRAFOL.com, promo code VIALL.
One of the biggest growth hacks is realizing you don't have to do it all yourself. Upwork makes it easy to bring in the right freelancer when you need them so you can stay focused on what you do best. Upwork is the one-stop platform to find, hire, and pay expert freelancers across web and software development, data and analytics, marketing, business operations, and more. Upwork helps you grow your business by giving you fast access to specialized talent across 125 categories so you can fill skill gaps, launch projects fast, and scale support up or down without committing to full-time headcount. You can browse profiles, review past work, and get help scoping the role so you can hire with confidence and get started quickly. It's so hard to find great talent out there, so let Upwork help you do that. Because sometimes you have projects that show up where you need to staff up quickly, but you don't need to necessarily hire full-time people. Upwork is perfect for special projects or things that you require extra help and definitely maybe specific skill sets. Maybe your team is very talented, but you might need someone who has a specialized talent. Upwork can help you find those people fast. And with Business Plus, you can access the top 1% of talent on Upwork, and with AI-powered shortlisting, you get matched to the right freelancer in under 6 hours. No endless searching required. Thousands of growing businesses already trust Upwork to hire flexible, high-quality freelance talent for everything from one-off projects to ongoing support. It's free to sign up, and posting a job is easy. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is upwork.com to connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's upwork.com, upwork.com. How's it going?
Hi, Nick. My name is Jane, and I'm 35 years old. And my husband is prioritizing another woman over me, and I don't know what more I could do.
Who is she?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
coworker.
Coworker. Is this like, have we gotten to like a fair level, or is this like
No.
Okay. So give me the story or the
No.
background.
So my husband and I have been together 10 years, married for 5. And he's worked with this woman, I would say like 8 of those years. And for a long time, she had a longtime partner. And I think maybe like a couple years, 3 years ago, they split up, and it's hard for me not to see things in just like a different view. I'm a woman, and there's been some just like strange moments over the years that have caused us to fight over, like, I'm like, this is weird. Like, for example, it wasn't this last summer, but the year before, we got new phones. And so I was like in our phone plan looking like, oh, how much usage? And I noticed that he was having like so many phone calls, and I was like, well, we don't talk on the phone. Like, what? This is weird. And I looked at them, and they're all from a number that is from a random state that I'm like, this is this friend. And so he's calling this person every morning on his drive to work, works with them for
What is
8
their
hours.
working relationship?
They are both, she's technically his supervisor at the end of the day, but they're pretty almost close in level, and they run a program together. So they're constantly collaborating and things like that.
So it makes sense from a work standpoint that they do talk a lot.
Sure. I mean, yeah, but I mean, out of office hours, I wouldn't think that they were talking about work.
Well, I mean, I don't, depends. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many different jobs. I mean,
True.
like I don't even know what normal working hours are for me, it's like,
Yeah.
shit happens and I got to deal with it sometimes. But I don't know if that's the case with your husband,
I knew they were, and they've already been close friends since then. And so, and it's already been a topic of discussion. And so, yeah, me seeing that he was calling her so often, I was like, I thought he was cheating on me. And I called him out that night, and it was very like, he was like, oh shit. Like in a way of like, I didn't know I was doing something wrong. She's going through a hard time. And it's like,
whoa. I mean, so
yeah.
he's not our therapist.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
And he literally was like, it's like our own podcast. I call her and I say, what's going on today? Like, that's how he.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's inappropriate. So if it's like, as soon as I start my day, we're talking about the project and the plan and how we execute, and work is work, and they might have to talk on the phone a lot. That's one thing. But him acknowledging that like they're just friends who like confide in each other, and she's opened up to him about the divorce or the breakup. It's like, like he's got to what? Like, it's, you're not like, do you guys have kids?
Yeah. So we have a 3-year-old, and I'm pregnant right now.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Did you say as much with that confidence of that, like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, I mean, so why is this still, it sounds like he's not
complying. So I think where we are, like, that was like that was probably the biggest thing that was like, he did, he's like, I'm like, this is what I need. Like, you can't do that, like that's a boundary. Like, that's crazy. And a lot of the times when we have these things, we just like push it on the rug. I'm guilty of it as well, but like, it's like we fight about it. It's like, why
are we fighting about it?
Because he can't see my perspective of, because he's so strong-willed. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong.
That's
like,
not
I'm
true.
not cheating on you, basically. Exactly. Like,
his
thing of being wrong is that he has cheated on me physically with her.
There's first of all, we don't even have to call it cheating. There's other ways people can cheat or feel you are feeling what you feel, and maybe this could help you articulate to your husband. Either way, this is like, it's not your, but it is hurting our connection. You said we don't talk on the phone like that. So here's this other woman that he is making connections with and doing something he doesn't even do with his own wife, which is like talk on the phone and like share stories and bond. I bet you would love some version of that sometime. Just the excitement of like, imagine he gets done with his day and the first thing he does is call you on his way home to like talk about the day. He literally is doing that with another woman. I mean, I would argue that a lot of women listening to this show be like, fuck, man, if I could get that from my husband, he can go fuck whoever he wants. I'm kidding. But like, like that is a meaningful connection that as people we desire, especially, married couples. So for him to pretend and play dumb that he's not doing anything wrong and then double down by arguing with you to preserve this connection he has with this other woman is crazy, on top of the fact that you're pregnant. So
yeah, and so I would say like things haven't changed in a year in that regards. And
so he still talks to her on a regular basis.
Not on the phone. No. Nothing like that. But he works with the woman, and there's always like, oh, like going out to drinks, and I don't, a lot of times it's not one-on-one, but even just like, because over the years, it's just like seeing her name on his phone, like the text pop up. It's like, and like, just like you said, like, yeah.
Does she text him about non-work related things?
Both. So it's hard to tell. So it's like, sometimes I see your name, I'm like, oh, she's texting you. And he's like, well, it was a question about work. And it's like, so it's like, then I'm the one feeling like crazy because I'm
like, is
it
always a question about work?
No, it's not, because they're friends. And he claims he's very open about how they're friends.
I mean, like that's like, when I was single, I had a lot of girlfriends. We didn't hook up. We weren't, it's like we weren't, but like those friendships, even though we weren't hooking up and we were just platonic friends, aren't appropriate for me to have today. Now that I have, they weren't even appropriate when Nellie was just my girlfriend. I would have dinner with these women. I would go to movies with them. I would hang out at their house at 2:00 in the morning and just like talk about whatever. And we would bond, and we had connections, they were friendship connections, but they were certainly more than work connections. And then I chose to be in a relationship and wanting that relationship that turned into me getting married and starting a family with someone to be like the most important relationship in my life. And knowing that, for all of us who talk about wanting to find our person, our one, and have a relationship that lasts over time. And again, like relationships are hard enough and no one's perfect and we all make mistakes and yada, yada, yada. But like he is arguing with you about energy he is putting into this friendship and justifying it because like, well, we're only just friends. It's some friendships in a marriage are inappropriate. And it like, even if it was a guy, if your husband had a male friend, and assuming your husband's straight and things like that, and but that friend required him to talk on the phone with them constantly and play video games and go golfing and go hunting to the point where you felt like your husband had a stronger bond and connection with this male friend, that would also be inappropriate. There's when married couples say, oh, my husband and my wife is my best friend, like I know sometimes we just say that shit, but it's supposed to be true. It's supposed to be true because that person isn't just the person we're like having a family with and making love with and starting kids with. It is the person that like we talk about our problems to, we share our insecurities about, we bond with, and yeah, life gets us down and sometimes like, but like we have to put that energy in those connections and relationships that we want to be strongest. Otherwise, we grow apart. We feel distant, the people we live with and been married to for years feel like strangers, roommates. That's how that shit happens. So your husband is going down a path that, quite frankly, if it doesn't stop or he doesn't like realize what he's doing and change how he's investing his energy, like it's not going to end well.
Yeah, and it came to that's really the conversation in January we ended up having, like, and I think being pregnant, I'm 8 months pregnant, so it's been a while, and around 4 or 5 months, like, you're not, we like to drink together, we like to go out, we like to do these things, and then that stops. And being pregnant is also just like a mental
Yeah.
mind game. And so it's just like, I'm quite like questioning, I'm like, I'm boring, I'm this, and my husband wants to go out with these people. And so it all came to like this kind of moment in January where I'm just like kind of really pleading with him of like this is how I feel, and whether you're doing something wrong or not in your eyes, like it's like triggering me to like feel like we are like at this rate we're going to get divorced. Like that's, I said these words to him, like I can't keep going on like this. I feel so
Yeah.
like you said, like I feel so disconnected from you, even when we're alone and you're just like after having some drinks out in your home and you're still drinking and I'm not drinking and I'm in bed because I'm tired. And so it's just like we were in this terrible spot. And I felt like I feel like we've made progress in the way like he agrees that it's like a weird thing. Like he's finally said, like, I see your point of view that having a close friend that's a woman is, he says, like taboo, or it's just not normal. And so he's like agreed with me on that,
It's
but
wrong.
he refuses.
It's wrong.
He refuses to change to make me feel better. And so, and I'm
Also,
even,
I mean, that's, yeah, I mean,
like
you
it's just
said,
hard.
that
Like
is,
I'm in this most
yeah.
vulnerable state right now. Like I'm like, I'm like, I don't know how to explain it to you differently. Like can you, even if like,
I mean, that you shouldn't have, you like, I'm sorry you're going through this, and the fact that you're 8 months pregnant, and I'm not trying to like shit on your husband here, but like, it's not,
he's really great.
I mean, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure
Just
he's fine.
sucks.
He's definitely not really great. And,
Okay.
and if you show him this episode, I'm sorry, dude. But like, listen, like when a married couple is, obviously as you're the one having the baby, you are dealing with so much. But if we want to give your husband and all the boys out there a little bit of grace, I think, it's a challenge for anyone, both parties in a couple, that when you're pregnant, there's, things change, things can get difficult. Sometimes you might acknowledge, you might get emotional, and sometimes those emotions might be confusing to him or might feel unfair or whatever. But like, that's part of the gig, man. That's what we signed up for, right? Part of it, of working through that, is to say, in the next 9 months, not everything might make sense. And my wife might ask me something that she's never asked me before, or doesn't even feel like normal. But you know what? It's right now, it's my job to show up for her, not ask questions. It's my job to make sure that she is relaxed and calm and not stressed or not anxious. It's certainly my job to not bring any unnecessary stress and anxiety into her life. That's bare minimum, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that, and take away you being pregnant right now, the fact that like he has been investing a great deal of energy, not only putting time into this friendship, that he is also putting in energy to fight for the right to have that friendship, is just a kind of a fuck you to you. And, taboo, like he is trying to like talk his way around doing something that is just like I said, I don't care. It's just inappropriate. Like, unless you two are kind of couple who like mutually agrees to have these types of friendships in your lives and have some kind of like open relationship. And again, like, I don't mean in like everyone's fucking, but I'm just saying like again, like a marriage doesn't work over the, in the long run, if you don't decide to show up and make that relationship your number one priority. It just doesn't. And he can say whatever he wants, but he's clearly not making it his number one priority. There are days where he makes this other woman more of a priority than you. And you feel that constantly. And the fact that you feel that should be, and the fact that there is any part of him that would feel weird to tell her, that means that like he is more worried about her feelings than yours, because it should be so easy for him to say, listen, it would be, first of all, it would be so easy to just distance himself from her. He doesn't even need to explain shit to her. He doesn't need to like get coffee and say, hey, we can't do this anymore. I mean, if he has to do that, then like, what the fuck is this relationship? So it should be so easy to just stop taking her calls after hours, to just stop responding, like to just oh, I'm sorry. I was with my wife and kid. Like, he doesn't need an explanation. He could just not respond. He can just not be available. He could just like, there is no woman in this world outside of my wife right now who has any expectations of me to show up for them in any meaningful way. My employees, some of them which are women, yeah, I mean, I guess I have some responsibility there to get back to them and things like that. But short of that, there's not a single woman in this world who like is expecting me to call them back outside of a working, and again, like if it was just work, fine. Work is work, and men work with women, and, that should be totally fine. But clearly this is going beyond that. And he's not even denying that, he's just justifying by saying, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not fucking her. She's just my friend. It's like, okay, well, I don't care what their gender is. Like, this is a friend that clearly you are prioritizing too much, and you are deprioritizing our relationship at a time where I just need you to show up for me. I do need you to do more. Like, I'm literally growing a person in my body. I am like making all these sacrifices. I didn't even get to choose all these. Other than the fact that like, I guess, yeah, I'm the woman in this relationship. So I'm the one having the kid. And he needs to do his part, which means at times do what he can. Even if it doesn't I imagine it doesn't feel fair when your body, if a pain shows up or an emotion shows up, it is responding you being pregnant. I bet that doesn't feel fair or normal or whatever. Like, this is not about fairness. So yeah, I mean, he needs to man up and needs to take care of his family and take care of his wife more than he's doing. And you shouldn't feel like you in any way have to apologize or feel weird about it. And the fact that he's even arguing with you is crazy.
Yeah, and I guess that's where we're like stuck at this point. It's like, I think, we've come a long way of like being able to talk about it and not in like a toxic way. Like, I'm just, like, let's hear each other out. And
I mean, honestly, the fact that you
just about her, it's like about, just the general, like you said, like being there for me and even not going, out. But it's like, we are still like, I either feel like I'm saying no and he's at home resenting me and like, and then I'm dealing with that. And so it's like, do I just suck it up and say, if that's going to make me feel more comfortable than letting him go out to like happy hour drinks and, and he did stop drinking the last 2 months because of a lot of this stuff. And like, that has felt supportive. And I've tried to be like, I really appreciate it. That's like a way that you are like showing me and committing that like, but it's still like, oh, I still want to go to this show or whatever. I'm not drinking though. It's like, okay, cool. But like, I'm here. Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm sacrificing so much and you are still not getting it. And I don't know how, like, it's like, how else can I get you to consider me more? Like, I want him to wake up and be like, oh, maybe my wife like wouldn't appreciate that. I'm not going to ask her if I can go and put her in that position to say no.
Yeah,
I have to, or I let him go and then I'm at home anxious and upset. And so
I mean,
I'm just like stuck there.
I guess I don't have an answer that's going to make you feel better in the short run. Other than the fact that like, I just validate your feelings that you're not crazy or wrong to feel the way you do. And I just think in the long run, you're better off trusting your instincts and feelings and standing your ground for what you know is right and what your relationship needs to survive. Because at the end of the day, you're right. Like, if your husband doesn't make different choices or chooses to prioritize this relationship in a more meaningful way, it has an expiration date. I don't know when that is, but it'll happen. Because if your two choices are to feel alone or anxious, like, how long are you going to be able to do that? Right. And if he's going to constantly feel like a victim because it's too much for him to like, listen, and it's not saying like every time your wife's pregnant, you have to like give up your entire life for 9 months. I got to go play, I get to go out with, every once in a while I'll be like, hey, I'm going to go watch this thing, for an hour. I won't be with my wife, have a little alone time, whatever. But that's once in a while. And at any point when my wife's like, I need you right now, I'm there, and I'm happy to be there. because like she needs me. And I guess selfishly, I like being needed. But like, yeah, he is definitely prioritizing his own feelings over yours, in this desire to like have like how crazy that is that he gets to like have fun. And I don't mean like he shouldn't be able to have fun. I'm just saying just like he is still chasing a little bit of the single life while his wife is 8 months pregnant. It's like, bro.
Yeah, and he's shared those feelings of like almost like this like crisis, like identity crisis of like, I don't want to be just a dad. I don't want this to be our whole life. And I'm like, yeah, me neither. But look at me, like I'm
I mean,
like,
what else?
I love being a mom, but we have other hobbies, and it's like, but
what
the
is
fact that
that,
you're
just a
choosing
dad?
right now,
What does he want?
like
A bro? I mean, sure. Does like
he like
wants to
I
be a
want to
bro?
have all these interests, and I want like
it's not like
I
he's investing his
know.
time to like, I don't know, invent something or do something. Is he really going to look back in his life 20 years from now and remember the times at the bar with the bros,
Yeah,
or like the coworker who like was an outlet from his like family?
Yeah.
I doubt it. If
Yeah.
by all means, if he wants to do more with his life and be more than a dad, I think, well, one, he's selling fatherhood a little short, but sure, but like, I don't think his time is going into something he's going to look back and be like, I did that shit.
Yeah. I just feel like, especially in this like moment we're in, like, okay, we're about to have this newborn. Like, I get it, but like, yes, it's temporary. Like, this is going to be like a hard time, and we're going to grow our family and have to figure all that shit out. And
Are you guys doing couples therapy?
eventually we're going to have hobbies, and like that stuff happens, but.
And you're not even asking him not to have hobbies. Yeah. You're not even, you're asking him to not be selfish.
Just like, yeah. Yeah. And it's hard for me to be selfish, and I've really like pushed, like, I'm like, I deserve to ask for these things.
There's nothing selfish about giving your
Mhm.
body to raise a life.
Yeah.
There's nothing selfish about you being pregnant. You have the right to want to like treat yourself or do things for yourself. I don't, it's hardly selfish. Everything about what you're doing is so selfless. And the fact, it's like, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm like validated, because there are times, like everything else is like great, and and it's funny because I'm like the physical versus emotional. It's like the emotional to me is like worse, like your connection with someone else. If I'm here, like, yeah, we have sex and it's great, and we have a great life and all this stuff. But then if I still feel like you're like, oh, I wish I could be doing this with this girl, or oh, something reminds you of her and you need to text her about it. Like, that's so weird to me. And that's
they shouldn't have inside jokes. They shouldn't
So,
have.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's inappropriate.
So I'm glad I'm validated, because or it's nice to hear, because I just like, yeah, some days I'm like, I just need to calm down. I need to like get over it. But
you definitely don't need to get over it. I hope you can remain calm, because that's obviously better for your health. But like, you definitely don't need to get over this. And if anything, I don't think you should waste any energy arguing with him. And he is trying to normalize something that shouldn't be normal.
Mhm.
Like, it's just inappropriate for you to have any meaningful friendship with a woman in a marriage with a kid. And even his guy friendships, like, have friends, but he needs to make sure his connection with you is always strong. And right now he is prioritizing connections outside of this marriage a little too much, and not just showing up for you in a way that, makes you feel like you have a part, you're doing this alone. I'm sure you feel like on some level.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know if if you're going to show him this episode, but like, that's going to embarrass him someday. Right now it just will. Like,
It will.
Someday he'll have the guts to think about some of his actions when he's outside of his own selfish needs. We do this all the time, right? Like, we should all be embarrassed by some things we didn't or didn't do. But, it might be 20 years from now. It might be, for all I'm not saying he's a deadbeat dad or anything like that, but there are deadbeat dads out there. And there are a lot of kids who grow up to realize that, one of their parents or their dads just like didn't show up the way maybe some other people did. And, it's embarrassing, and they all feel it. They just, it's always like, so, I hope that he gets out of his head, man, and wants to show up, because it sounds like overall you have a good thing, and it's like there's a lot of positive in your relationship. But I asked you about couples therapy and we got sidetracked. Are you guys in couples?
No, it's been mentioned in the last month. So, I mean, to get this route, it's our best bet. It's, scary to think about, but
Why is
I
it
think
scary?
could be able. I don't know. I think it's just more of like my mental headspace that I'm in right now, where it feels very like.
Listen, like every
know.
couple needs help.
Yeah.
Every couple, like even the healthiest of couples, sometimes need a third party to mediate. I'm sure, and I've been hard on your husband. I'm sure there are emotions he is feeling, and feelings that are valid, and he's not sure how to communicate and process them. And a good couples therapist would just help you guys get on the same page. I'm sure some of his feelings are valid on some level. How he is going about processing those feelings, or trying to is making his wife feel a certain way. And at a minimum, I imagine that deep down, that does bother your husband. I imagine if he listened to this call, he would get very defensive, because he doesn't want, but like he should, he should get defensive, because at deep down, he knows the truth, that he has centered his feelings above yours in a moment where, like, honestly, anytime a guy like makes his feelings more important than his wife's when she's pregnant, he's kind of a dick.
I could agree with that.
And it's not to say that his feelings don't matter, but he is treating a friendship with a woman at work as something that he needs. And I don't, like it's his equal to like you needing rest.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just, I feel like everyone else thinks it's so crazy, but it's like, except him. And it's like, I want to go talk to the coworker myself and just like, do you see, like, do you get it? But
that's beneath you. I know.
But that's,
but
like,
don't let couples therapy. It's not a sign.
Yeah.
It's not a, no, couples therapy. We're one step closer to divorce. No.
Yeah.
It's like the healthiest relationships could benefit from it. Treat it like a bicycle helmet, not reconstructive surgery. Like right now, you can't find the words to get through to your husband. He needs to hear it from someone else. And and one thing I think, without making like threats, I do think, like, if anything else, to say, like, I don't know what to tell you, but if this doesn't get better, we will become a statistic. We will be a cliche. We'll be a broken family. You are comparing your need to go out and have drinks and hang out with friends, some of which are, and making connections and having, friendship connections with women, over like, showing up for your wife and kids. And I didn't sign up for that. And I don't know how long I can do this. So if you don't want this, just, let me know now. But if you do, then we need to make changes.
Okay. No, that's helpful.
I'm sorry you're going through this.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, keep us posted. Let me know how it goes. But are you gonna show him this episode?
I don't know. I want to, but he would get very, very, like you said, embarrassed, because you should be embarrassed.
Yeah. Listen, I definitely, like, let's not try to emasculate the guy, but more than anything, I just want you to not feel crazy. For your feelings are incredibly valid. And I think you should waste less energy trying to explain yourself to convince him. I think you just be like, this is crazy. I shouldn't have to explain to you why this is fucked up. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's like you want a pat on the back for not fucking her. Like, I didn't sign up for you. I didn't get married and have kids and choose to like build a family with a guy who wants to act single in a lot of ways. And like, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up for you to like bond with another woman.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Have a good day.
Well, thank you.
Sorry you're going through this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.